I heard somebody ask this yesterday. If you could do it all over again, would you, if you had three options, you can do over, continue life where you are start today, or be moved into the future somewhere down the road, which of those three options would you choose?
The second one.
I continue where I'm at, yeah.
Now that's where I'm at. But there are people that spend their whole life. You got a daughter, and she's gonna always want to do over.
Yeah.
Always. Even though it's not possible,
Right.
but even if it were possible, you wouldn't make any decisions any different. You think because you know what you know today, and if you got put back 20 years, that you would make different decisions. No, you're the same person. Yes, we mature, we grow, we become more wise, but the reason that we become more wise is the experiences and everything that brought us to this place. You lose all of that and you're back to where you were 20 years ago, you're going to do the same thing. Y'all don't get it.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, they think they can retain the knowledge of living this life.
They wish that,
But just imagine if you change the things in your life.
Oh, yeah.
Just imagine how you would feel going back. Like if I was saying, oh, I get to be 18 again.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, and you lose your wife, your kids, and the whole family.
Yeah.
Like, how would I feel? I probably want to just shoot myself right there and be like, oh, that's it. I can't live. This is ridiculous.
Well,
What did I do?
when they asked the positions, they said, which option would you take? And I listened to people and I said, wow, it tells you, it's almost like assessing someone psychologically. It tells you so much about this person. And, you know, I just happen to have a lot of examples around us. And I know that if there's a person that if she were to go back 20 years, it wouldn't be like you could maintain what you have right now, and then 20 years from now take that knowledge back with you, and yes, you would make different decisions. But the matter of the fact is, if you were to go back in the same environment, same situation that you were in 20 years ago, you would make the same stupid mistakes that you're making right now. Because you can change the future, you can't change the past. And like right now, with this individual and her concept of thoughts of just the way she devalues human beings and people around her, everyone around her, mother, everybody. And I'm like, Alexis. So how can you,
I just want to
with the 20 years,
I actually didn't know either.
Well, yeah.
I was guessing everything.
with the 20 years of development that you just went through, you're not changing anything today to change your future. You 20 years from now, you're still going to be doing the same thing because you haven't made any adjustments in the last 20. So the next 20 ain't going to be any different than the last 20.
I mean, it's so true because the continued pattern is still going
Exactly.
on. It's still going on.
We said it at dinner. That's, you know, gosh, that was that far back, and it's the same behavior still today.
Yeah.
But all of us get castrated for we're moving on.
Right.
So we've gone beyond her.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and that's a no-no.
That's where the hate comes
That's
from.
where the hate comes
The
from.
hate comes from the fact that we've gone beyond her and we don't live in that place anymore,
Right.
or we don't, you know, go there anymore, or whatever.
Seeing what Ashley wrote to Alexis,
Yeah.
if she read that,
Well, that's why I say she can't respond. She'll
Ashley-
never respond to that email.
she might have
No.
more solid foundation than I have. Because you can't see anything else because everything was laid out in a way where you can't dispute anything.
Right.
You didn't give her grounds for that or opportunity for that. So it just shows, because I was blown away. I read it and I said, Ashley wrote this. Very thought out, thoughtful, just, but you can't ever, I don't know if Alexa will ever get to that place because she doesn't have anything to bounce her thoughts off of, rebound, to assess, evaluate.
Well,
No.
and the one thing that Ashley's email did too is that, which I don't think enough people do with Alexis, is like she called her out on her own shit.
Yeah, that's true.
You know,
Ashley's not afraid.
she said,
Yeah.
you did this,
Yeah.
and you made me think it
Yeah.
was me. You did this,
Yeah.
and you always led me to believe, or you did this, and you let other people believe it was all these things where she really thought she had that control even to
Yeah.
But we're just ignorant as
Right,
life.
even to this
We're
day.
dumb. We don't know.
Right, even to this day, she thought she still had that type of control over.
She had
not only
everybody
Ashley-
fooled, but
Right,
Yeah,
not
everybody
only
fooled.
Ashley, but all situations, because she does it with your mom to this day.
Yeah.
And and hearing it, and the thing is, she didn't even hear how she say it. She saw it in writing, in words.
That's
Yeah.
something she can
And-
filter out.
Exactly,
Yeah.
and so that's where I think that's what blows her away. You
Yeah.
do more damage to her by that kind of thing. Because she can stand up and she can yell and she can scream and she can be condescending
Twist
and
reality.
evil.
And keep finding deflect, but keep
Deflect.
finding other things
Deflect.
to
Because
change the
her
subject,
stories
change
don't
the.
change. Just like I was telling you that night she was here. She's ranting and raving about the same stuff. It's not even, none of it's new stuff. It's just all the old stuff over and over again. She can't even,
Let go of anything.
right, and the thing is, there's nothing new to use.
No.
There's no new stuff to use.
Holding on to that hate.
You're right, that's like she picks on me now because me being upset because Dee's moved in the neighborhood. So now it's okay, that's a new thing I can pick on you about now,
Right.
So now she's
Ammunition.
Right, so now she's gonna use that to, but it's like, seriously, how many times are you gonna tell me you like your spouse's ex-wife living in the same unit?
How does that feel?
I mean, I don't think I would be a human to not feel that way, but,
Well,
so
and-
yeah, so I that's like I say, I don't know.
You
I
hit
don't
the
know.
crucial conundrum of the whole thing is her control power.
Yeah.
Her powers of control were nullified by Ashley. That is so poignant because that is exactly what she does. She really just tries to control, manipulate. And Ashley's email, I totally agree, it shot right through it. But it's funny that you say, when we try to explain something, I'll say, when I try to explain something to Alexis, not that this happens anymore, but I guess Deanna would be a better example. I try to show her the reasoning and the compassion as to why someone does something. So I remember when, let's take what you just brought up, which is a great point, your reaction to them moving into the neighborhood. And in my mind, it was expected. It not only should be expected, it should have been preemptively avoided. Like, that's what I would expect, is that she would take that into consideration before anything else and go, I'm impacting other people's lives. That's what I would have done, and I wouldn't have moved in. I'm not saying she has to do what I do, but at least have the awareness that you're impacting other people. There's this blind idiocy that goes on over there that I've never understood. So when we explained it, when I told her, I said, well, Carrie's not gonna, she's gonna have a really hard time with that. So before you start, jumping into houses and stuff, I said, do you realize the impact that that's gonna have? And she's like, well, she shouldn't, in her words, she shouldn't care. I would. I would care. I think that she should care. And she was like, well, Ricky doesn't have a problem. I said, well, Ricky deals with things in a different way, but I'm sure he's going to feel the brunt of this. Like, he's going to have to go through a lot of double checking, looking around and seeing if you're in the neighborhood. And I just said, and it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if Ricky can handle it, great for Ricky, But Ricky, that doesn't mean he's more mature. It means he's in a different position. Carrie is not going to be happy, but that's where the compassion side comes in. You have to put yourself in her shoes, just for 5 seconds if you can. But she never does. She did the same thing with Russ's kids. And I gave her that 30-minute lecture going, have you ever thought how they feel that their mom just died last year? Have you ever thought that you just coming into the picture in 3 seconds and then not responding to them in a way of saying, look, I know this is fast. I know we rushed. I'm sorry. Did you ever think that might be the way to approach them because you actually care how they feel? No, you don't care how they feel, and that's what I read from all your, well, they just have to get over it. It's true, they do have to get over it. They absolutely do, but not today. They need time. They have rights too, and they have feelings too. And from a kid who lost his mom young, I can tell you, it hurts to be replaced, to feel that feeling of replacement. And she just doesn't get it. They don't get it, like they don't understand.
Now, how many kids does he have?
3.
3. He's got 1 adopted daughter, and 2 boys.
The adopted daughter is the one that worked at Rico, too, right?
Yeah.
That's the one Alexis said. And the thing
Amy.
is, it's funny because as you're talking, it was actually back on the patio when Alexis was here with the 2 kids, and she was saying that the daughter's just, we work with her at Rico, and I know how she is, and you know,
Yeah,
she's
emotional.
just, you know, and now she's the one with the grandkids.
Yes.
You know, and now she's going to use those kids as a tool, and you know, I told my
That's how
mom,
Alexis
you know,
is.
too bad for them. You know, that they want to care, you know, they want to care about, you know, you know.
Oh my
And then
God.
that's when she threw out, you know, her parents weren't even sleeping together. What kind of a marriage was it anyway, you know? So, but it's true, it's like
Crazy.
you say.
Yeah.
I mean, losing a parent, be it a father, a mother, or whatever, is devastating to any child at any given time, no matter when it happens
Yeah.
in your life.
One, that venomous approach to and that attitude to people in general. Your mom and your sister are venomous. So, like, the things that they'll fight on, they'll fight everybody. They've said bad things about everybody. But another example over in Carrie's world, which I see very clearly now, is Alexis. It's not really Deanna. It's Alexis who wants to create this rift where she's like, well, you know, Carrie and her family don't care about us, and you know that. I remember that argument coming up all the time, and I'm just like, you know what? I don't even see it. So I never saw it. I'm like, I don't see what the heck you're talking about. And as time has gone on, I'm realizing Alexis is just crazy. She's trying to start fights and plant bad seeds with everybody that she doesn't like. So then when I look at Caroline, look at Marie, and I look at Zach, I'm like, they've been nothing but polite, considerate, kind. They've like, I look at them going, I don't see a bad bone in any of them. Like, I'm like, yeah, we all have our ups and downs, but they've never mistreated us. Never. Like, I've never ever even gotten to any sort of like, not that we're very close or anything, but just the whole, everything that they do in their lives, they keep their, you know, business to themselves, and what they share is, it's uplifting. I'm like, I'd much rather be around them than around you crazy person. And I just look at who's attacking. Caroline, Marie, and Zach do not attack. There's no attack. There's nothing coming from that side saying, Alexis this, Alexis that. At least I don't hear it. It never comes. I don't get any drama from it. I don't see any of that stuff. So, you know, I wouldn't blame them for having those feelings, because I have those feelings, but I don't see it. On the other side, I see nothing but that same competitive
Well, they don't
attitude.
Yeah, they don't even see Alexis in that. They've never seen her in that.
Mode.
Never. They've never seen her like that.
Yeah.
You know, they've never seen
They're missing
her
out.
right to where
Yeah.
she does that.
But she sets them up. She sets them up for failure, basically saying that, you know, she calls out any problems you have, any issues you have, any faults you have. She just uses them against you. And I just, you know, it's not just done to you, which is terrible because you're her sister. It's not just done to me, but I kind of understand, well, maybe you're protecting your sister. I could give you some leeway there. Maybe I am, you know, the controlling husband kind of thing. Maybe you have some points. Maybe I have to look at that. No, I don't see that. But, you know, I can start forgiving at a certain level. But she does it to everybody. Like, she's on everyone's case. Who does she like?
Well, the ones that share in the same,
Seriously.
the people that share the same likes and activities that she does, she likes them until they cross her, and then she'll cut them off
Yeah.
quickly. But her whole life, and when I look back at Alexis, is she's found something, you hit on it earlier, that makes you not perfect, so it makes you human.
Yeah.
And so she finds that imperfection, and she does everything she can to make that who you are.
Yes.
You know?
Yes.
I got
Yes.
99 qualities that you can't argue with, and I got one that I'm working on, and she'll bring that one up. But you got to remember that she attacks everyone who doesn't openly accept her world.
Yeah.
And because of that, then she's does everything she can to condemn you, to make you.
But what I find so funny in that alone, it's like, why does the conversation always have to be about her world?
Yeah, I know.
You know what I'm saying?
She just soaks,
Right,
sucks
like
you right
I'm saying,
in.
like when, even when she comes to visit here, so okay, so you know we don't agree with your world, you know we don't agree with your living situation, you know we don't agree, so all these things, okay, so why are we even talking about it?
Who
Like,
cares?
there's a million things that we could talk about in our conversation of the day or
Uh-huh.
whatever, but she wants to be combative,
Yeah.
you know? It's like she wants to throw in our faces that these are the things I live by or what I do or what, you know, knowing that you're not going to get the response you want.
Yep.
So like, if you're, especially with your dad, it's like if you're having that conversation with your dad, what you're going to get back from him is exactly the opposite, because he feels that what you're doing is completely wrong,
Right.
and these are the reasons why it's wrong. You know, he's not going to shut up and not say anything, especially
Nope.
like in his house.
Yeah.
You know, so, but
But I do everything to avoid any of the things that I already know. Like she's just finding out. Like I was oblivious and blinded to all kinds of craziness. And I said, look, I've always known that. But
Right.
this wasn't important. You know, I'm believing that you'll grow out of it. One day you'll, you know, these things. And then I keep bringing her right back to the same old. Why is it everybody you know is gay? Why is it that you know people that you closely associate with are all criminals? You know, why can't you find a person, a human being, someplace who is law-abiding, you know, caring,
Something.
you know, just good. They have any good qualities.
Being, yeah.
And so she'll listen and she'll destroy Tosh and Marcus, and then 5 seconds later, they're the greatest people on earth. And I'm like,
that's what she
why do you tell
That's
me
what she does to
about
her mom.
what
She
these
does that to
two?
her
Yeah.
mom all the time.
Like this.
She's
Don't
like
tell me
this, she's
about how
like
great
that,
these people
da,
are,
da, da.
and then start trashing them.
So bad.
Nah.
But yeah, you're right. I mean, it's like, Tosh and Marcus. I mean, all she does is trash them. But yet,
trash them, but they can't
but
live without me.
that's why I said this to Dad just like a couple of weeks ago. I said, we will never have a relationship with Austin
I know.
because Alexis will not
This is
allow
in the
it.
way.
Yeah.
Because as long as she can keep him imperfect, she knows we don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
And if he's part of her world
Yep.
and her lifestyles of any kind,
Yep.
then she knows that she can keep him at bay from us.
If Austin and my dad end up reconnecting and having a great
Right.
relationship, then Alexis
Where
is
is
going to
she?
feel like exactly left
Out.
out and yeah.
That's her
So,
worst
Yeah,
nightmare.
that would be
Yeah.
her worst nightmare.
But that's really what needs, in a perfect world, that's what needs to happen. I mean, Austin, I know Austin's got his demons too, though. And I don't know how do you change that within
I
a
think
person?
there's only 2 or 3 things that he needs to work on. There's not a ton of
But they're
things.
big. They're huge. They're like the crux of being forthright, you know.
I tell you, it
Strong.
may not seem big, but this thing about integrity is something that is a very conscientious trait. It's not something that just happens by
Yeah.
chance, osmosis or something. It's something that you have to train yourself, you know, and know that you're growing. Now, last year I wouldn't have a problem jumping the fence and taking that and bringing it, but I have some convictions about it this
Yeah.
year. Those little baby steps that you take bring you to a place of having some integrity. Right now, he has so much. I'm sure he's got. If he has a conscience at all, he's got to have a lot of guilt
Yeah.
for a lot of stuff that he's done. And so, and if you look at it and say, how do I clean it all up just like that? Well, that can't happen because one, you and I, we don't know all of the stuff that Austin's done. And if one day, I see guys do this all the time when they just lose it. They find, and this is just before they commit suicide. They finally reach a place where they're tired of running, and all of the smuck and stuff that they've done hits them,
Yeah.
and now they feel like they're deserving of death, and that's the only thing they're deserving of.
Yeah.
That's why, that's why I almost feel like almost with you, Ashley, like when you and Daddy finally had that time to sit and just talk through, and it didn't happen overnight. It was like a lengthy period of
Right.
time, and
Yeah.
it's almost like if Austin had that opportunity too, Because there's probably a lot of stuff, just like Ashley was holding on to, or stuff that she didn't understand or know, he didn't understand or know. There's probably that very same stuff with Austin.
Yeah.
But he,
No doubt.
you know, he can't even get here.
There's
He
some,
can't get to here in order just to sit and start a dialogue of something, which could probably, hopefully help him in so many ways.
right,
But he can't even get here.
can't.
And like,
He
will
doesn't have the
never
action.
make, and that's my fear is like, will he ever make it here? I don't feel he
I
will
know,
now.
I know, it's scary.
Right, because
Very
she,
scary.
right, I just feel between his mom and Alexis, you know, we would always battle his mom. His mom is his mom. You can't, there's,
Right.
you know, no define that. You're never going to get around that. But now when you're battling Alexis and she is so strong,
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's so susceptible
yeah,
to her ability to convince him, even when they fight and are
yeah.
in a
Even when he
disagreement.
doesn't agree with her,
Even when
yeah.
he doesn't agree, I can't believe how much hold that either she has or how much damage he really wants in his life. Because that's the thing I worry about is maybe this is where he's comfortable. And that to me is death right there. You're done. If you're comfortable and you're going to accept that, that means you're only going to go downhill. Whereas Ashley, you know, when I think back when we met, you had a lot of good stuff. Like you had a core person. That's what I was attracted to. Is that you had an idealistic goodness inside. It was just buried under layers of self-protection, maybe, you know, bad behavior based on not thinking about it. I think a lot of it was just defense mechanism. You weren't thinking, and you just needed the space to start doing that. But you were coming from a good place. There's something about you that was genuinely, yeah, and genuinely not accepting in terms of just accepting the world, but you could see from other people's point of view, and you would meet them. You'd meet me halfway, even though we didn't agree on a few things. Actually, we agreed on a lot, but you were easy to work with.
What do you think he has his heart?
Great heart.
Right,
Yeah.
that's what I'm saying. So I think
He
he
has
has
that.
that inside of him
They both-
too. Right.
They both have
Right.
that.
I just think that it was easier for Ashley to walk away.
Yeah.
She would seclude herself off
Yes.
from Alexis and
Yes.
them. Even if it meant her going away and living on her own somewhere in a one, bedroom, wherever it
True.
was, it meant her getting away. She had that drive in her to get herself away,
Yeah.
at whatever cost it was.
Yeah.
So her strength is a lot.
It's
Even
always
though you
there.
don't think you're strong, your strength was a lot stronger and is a lot stronger than Austin's.
Yes.
Austin can't get away. And you know what the thing is? They know they have him. Because like loaning him the money for the house, I mean,
Yeah,
Alexis
I
just
know.
brought that up again. Loaning him the money for the house, him not paying them back yet. And so like he's drowning,
Yeah.
in quicksand with them, and he does not know how to get out.
Doesn't know how to get out, and he doesn't know how to stand on his own 2 feet.
Right.
So he accepts these gifts. That gift accepting is actually irritating the heck out of me. What is with all this freeloading, like just money going to the wrong hands when it comes to these bad decisions? And I look at it and go, it's not even the money. That's not the problem. The problem is you shouldn't be accepting it. It's wonderful to be able to offer something and say, look, if you need help, I'm all for that. But you shouldn't accept it if you can do it yourself.
Especially don't
And
accept it from people who are going to
well, manipulate, sure.
make
but
you feel
even
like you
worse.
owe them or make you
For
feel
like the rest of
guilty
your life.
for the
The
yeah.
rest of your life, yeah,
It's
guilt.
not, that's why it's never, it's not even given with good intention. Because
Exactly.
if it was given with good intention, it would have no strings attached. It would have nothing like that.
And it would be coming from a better place where it wouldn't just be given with this whole seductive kind of, oh, I can help you and you'll love me back. So the way that I see, like Ricky, how he treats Austin and Alexis is, if you deserve it, I'll help you. If you put the effort in and I see something, I'll help you. But otherwise, go earn it. And it's that kind of message that's completely missing on the other side. The other side is, I'll help you no matter what. You just have to love me. It's conditional, but you just have to you have to do everything I want, basically. But it's freely given, and it's under the facade of this is love, and that's not love. Love cannot be placating people with gifts and doing whatever they think they want and at the time to try and make a bond happen. That to me is just very manipulative. And
Carrie, you saved Ashley because in all of that, Ashley could have had the desire to want to have a life without feeling guilt, remorse, in a closet, dark, hiding shit, dishonest, faking it, to have a genuine life. But if she had run into you, she wouldn't have any options because that would be the only people, and they keep, the facade going so that her, Austin, Lexus, D, so that they could have a target to excuse whatever the hell is bad in your life. It's your dad's fault. If it wasn't for your dad, or Todd, or just everything that was bad, that she didn't have anything in her life to be able to compare it to bounce this stuff that I'm thinking that I maybe didn't sit well with you, but it's either hang with them or create my little distance times when I need to get away because I just don't agree with this.
yeah.
Well, it's hard to be in that environment and not agree with them. They're going to pull that out of you. And Alexis is pulling that out of D right now. But my deal is this, you guys. So I don't want you to be late grabbing those kids either. But the it's 9 o'clock. But the Russ and his relationship with D is going to be significantly impacted by Alexis. And Alexis's situation with those kids that are over there and what's the name? D. And D.
Mm-hmm.
It's very temporal. It's going to be very, very quick. And so things are going to get a lot uglier. And I feel bad because I've never met Russ. But I feel bad because if he thinks and has had any feelings like, this isn't quite as beautiful, wonderful as he had hoped or wanted it to be.
Right.
Boy, he doesn't have a clue.
Yeah.
Lex is coming back. She will be back here.
Yeah.
Her and Dee will be done. She's going to be back at the lowest place she's ever been in her life. No job, no health care, no money. All of these things hitting her, and Dee saying, "This is my flesh and blood. This is my daughter." And so he's going to have to balance and deal with that stuff. I feel bad for the guy because the reality is, man, when the real stuff hits the fan, because everything is going okay right now. When the real stuff hits the fan, where are you going to run to? And like I told you, I will be very shocked if Dee and Russ get married in November. That will shock the hell out of me. But Alexis, like I said, she's got to get through this summer. And not just because it's going to be warmer and the heat's starting to turn up right now, but who Alexis is, it's like, what human beings can live with a person
Can't
like
hide
this?
that forever, yeah.
You can only put a facade over somebody's eyes and for a short period of time.
Unless they see him the most happiest
Yeah, that's
man.
what I was going to say.
If he has
Took
got to
those
be,
words out of my mouth.
if they see him as the most happiest man,
If they see
that
her
she
bringing
is
that
doing-
kind of
she's
joy to
doing
his
right,
life,
right, that she's doing
who
nothing
would wanna
but adding
him not to have that.
right value and everything that she's giving him is just done nothing but elated him. I'll be the first to tell you, I was not elated when my mom married Ron. I didn't even go to the wedding.
I didn't even know they got married.
So,
You know what I mean?
I
I just found this out last
I was
year.
so upset, and my
We were
dad,
invited.
my dad was
Wait, we
already-
missed
my
it.
my dad had been gone already 3 years. No, longer.
2005.
When
He
did
was
they-
gone.
Okay, and they got
We
married.
got married 2009.
Okay, so 4 years.
4 years.
My dad was gone, and I just thought this was such a disrespectful. In my mind, I had already made up that my mom would never get married again.
Right.
So when she, this all came about, I'm like, no way. And I was just horrible. And then one day it hit me on how my dad would be very upset with me
Right.
if he knew I was treating
Right.
my mother this way.
Right. Right.
So that kind of came, that's kind of where I started from. What am I doing?
Yes.
I get one mother in
You're
this
taking that
world.
responsibility.
Right,
Yeah.
I'm gonna get
Yeah.
one mother and I'm gonna waste my time with her. She's whatever age she was, and I'm
Oh.
like,
Yep.
I'm not gonna have her forever.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna have her, who knows, 10 more years,
Yeah.
15 more years, 20 more years, and I'm gonna shit it away because I'm pissed off about her being married. But I see nothing but him doing nothing but adding to her life.
Yeah.
She could not have
Right.
found a better
He takes
person.
care of her. There is not a qualm I have over how he treats her and how she's taken care of. I can't argue.
We were in July, so not one July, October I think it was. Whenever we were up there in White Mountain, and they were talking and stuff, and what's that? October. So, yeah, and you guys didn't come to the wedding. What wedding? What? She said, he said, yeah, everybody was there. They were there. I said, were we invited? Yeah. We were invited. I said, oh my goodness. Now I'm sitting there saying, you got to be kidding me. That's right in October because our anniversary.
It was
Back to back.
Right.
And so I said, well, I'm sorry, Ron, because I didn't even know. I didn't know nothing about it. I said,
We
wow.
have a wonderful relationship. So that's why I said that's
That's
the
good.
only way that it will go
Yeah.
beyond that.
Yeah.
If they
Yeah.
catch an inclination that there's any threat for money, finances, unhappiness, anything, they will just
They'll hold it against her and just
and him too.
recycle the hate.
They'll take it out on him.
Yeah. Look what you did. Look
Yeah.
what would mom
Yeah.
think? Yeah. Well, I have to say with the positive side of what's going on, I mean, thank you for saying that too in terms of help, being positive for Ashley, because I mean, that definitely mattered to me, is that you guys connected and that actually all of you connect, because first it was this step and then it is this step.
Yeah.
But it was kind of crucial because, well, it was crucial because I saw Ashley in pain about both parents just not in a good place. And back then I saw Deanna trying, and I was like, well, that's probably going to go in a better direction, or at least there's this communication. But the thing about it is that Deanna has been a continuous effort to try and build something, and it always keeps failing. That's really what happens, is it just keeps plummeting, and then it goes back up, and then it plummets, and it's stressful and it's painful. But what I have seen since, I think when I look at it, I just gave you space, and you really did all the work. And Ricky, you did all the work. When you guys started just talking, it seemed to be almost, and I could be wrong about this, but for me, it looked like it was effortless. And it goes back to what I really believe is happening, and especially as it applies to the other two. There actually isn't a problem for the kids relating to Ricky. There shouldn't be, because when I look at it, Ricky's an excellent father, an excellent source of, it's safe, like it's truth, it's honest, it doesn't have any deceit. And that's when we talk about you guys now, that's how we feel. Like it's safe, and it's the only family actually that we got here, because the other side is just batshit crazy. I wish it was different. I know they're not terrible, in 100%, but they make things very tough. And you guys don't. You guys make things very easy, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's a good relationship that actually has some genuine value to it. There's something that is meaningful there. Whereas the other side, I feel like we're just playing charades. We're just going through the motions with them of pretending that things are going in a direction. I'm just like, you guys, there's no connection. Like I kind of like you, if I could put it that way, but I don't trust you. There's no trust. I don't trust anything. But I trust you guys very much, and I'm very happy that this got healed
Okay.
because it just keeps getting better. And then we look at Austin and Alexis, and of course we're frustrated too. It shouldn't be that way. You know, it really shouldn't. And there's nothing here that's going to hurt them. That's what I look at. I'm like, so when you say you could have wasted your time, I fear that. I'm like, they're wasting their time. They're wasting the time that they could have with their dad. He's a great father. I don't understand. It's like you don't know what you're gonna, what you have until you lose it, and that's the worst. That's one of the worst lessons to have, right? That's the one that really knocks you on your butt.
The woulda, shoulda, couldas of the world, and
Stupid.
I mean,
Well, Karen, thank you for all the kind words, but I gotta tell you, where you guys are at, I said this 2 years ago now, just do what's in the best interest of your kids, no matter what. We may bump heads on something, I said, wow, you got a problem with that? And you said, yeah. Then I'll go along with the way you want to get it done, because the thing is that by you concentrating on what's best for my kids, we're going to get close and close and closer.
Yeah.
I only want what's best for you guys, but I really only want what's best for my grandbabies. So no matter what, if you're doing everything that you can see that's in the best interest of those kids, then we're not going to be separated. It's not possible, because we are always going to be on the same page.
Yep.
When I struggle to do what's in the best interest of the kids, I mean, this is why I tried 2 years ago to try to get you guys to understand. Just always try to come to an agreement on what's going to be in the best interest of the kids.
Yeah.
That'll keep you closer together, and that will definitely keep us from being targeted, because there's nobody that's going to be able to shoot at us when, like, your mom and stuff, when she would take what she knows not to be true and feed it to me, and then take what I say to you that is nowhere near anything that I said. And I'm thankful, because it's the same person. That's why I said I'm glad. I talked to her on the speakerphone, and I got a witness listening to her, and I said, can you believe this? But I've had so many friends over so many years that I was hard-headed, and I was probably very easily manipulated.
Sure.
I wanted to believe it, which made it even easier to get me to go along with stuff that I look back at it now, I'm like, boy, how clueless were you? Where you would think you were in love and stuff, you just close your eyes and say, I just hope I'm alive when I come out the other side, But when you, I look back at the grandkids and stuff right now, she's going to continue to I don't want to use the term manipulate, but she's going to continue to try to control the situation to make sure that her involvement with those kids, she's going to become less and less risking her relationship. And I told you this before, it's going to be tough on you, Ash. It's your mother. But if you establish this is where we are, this is how we want our kids raised, she'll come around. We all do. We will be there. It's just to see if you're serious. If you can be consistent in your position, those are the things that make it happen quicker. Being inconsistent keeps the ball rolling for a long, long time. When Russ comes into the picture, there may be times where you guys might talk to each other. Ash, you heard from your mom? No, I haven't heard from her, because hopefully she's going to have a relationship with a guy who's going to start eating up and consuming some of her time. And hopefully she will try to establish some kind of a relationship with his kids, which takes time. And everybody wants to say, okay, we know each other, so now we're all best friends. You don't get from A to Z in one day. It might take you 20 years to get to Z. But be progressing in that direction. And for her, it's basically, Tom was standing here tonight, but He's one guy to tell you, just like Stickweed, you're brutally honest. But I love it because they don't, when they say, Ricky, what do you think about this?
Yeah.
They don't have to think that I'm trying to protect how you see me or whatever. You ask me a question, and this is my
That's an
position,
answer.
and this is why I take
Yeah.
that position. You know, I never thought about that. And he said that 100 times. I've never thought about it that way, which is why he asked. And I tell him, you know, Leah and some of my other friends and stuff, they confide in me. I don't know why Todd just sent a message, but he's confiding right now, I'm sure. But when they do it, it's not like I'm some type of Samson or Solomon or something that has all this wisdom and stuff.
Yeah.
What I have is common sense from an uneducated man, and I look out and say, if I keep helping people, who wants to target the person who's helping them?
Yeah.
And so I feel very protected, not because I'm looking at God's not going to let bad things happen to me. If I'm helping everybody that I come into contact with, who wants to shoot down the person who's helping you?
Yeah.
That doesn't make sense. Excuse me. So that was my life, which irritated your mom a lot.
Yeah.
But that is also with Alexis when I asked her, when's the last time you did something for somebody? I'm being serious
Yeah.
because the reality is self-centered people can only see what's in it for me. What do I get out of this? And I'm not investing or putting any effort into it because it's
Yeah.
what am I getting in return? And
I agree with you on all fronts, except for the fact being, as long as Alexis still has an influence on her mom, that will
Yeah.
never happen.
but there's two
Yeah,
factors
yeah.
that are coming into play now.
Russ
They
is one of
had,
them.
yeah. Well, she
Right.
already had the kid, and they've been consistent on establishing. Okay, we don't want the kids around this environment or this
No.
situation,
Right.
and so she's had to. And look at she's made some strides
But
because at least she's consciously thinking about it all
Yeah.
the time. I got to make a call, even if she's still being dishonest. She's thinking about it
Yeah.
because this could cost me
And she,
a price that I
she
want to
does
pay.
voice it to Alexis, because Alexis will say,
Okay.
Mommy can't do this because
Oh, yeah.
she won't,
Yeah.
they go
Okay.
At the wall.
So that's working. Now you add a Russ in there, which is going to support this. But the other side of it is now she has to begin to adapt some of her personality and life to his world, which means he had 3 kids and he's got some grandkids. And you know what? She can't be biased, not biased. She can't look at Logan and Justice and say, these are the greatest human beings on earth, but your grandkids are shit. You know,
Right.
you know, there has to be fairness and whatever. And so with her wanting to have a husband and her grandkids, the attachment to her husband is he had kids and stuff too. So, you know, for her it's a game. It's not a life change.
Yeah.
Maybe
That's
someday it'll be a life change, but for her right now it's how do I manipulate everything so I can get what I want
Yeah.
out of everything. Maybe one day she'll just get back and say, you know what? How can I bring something positive to everybody's life that I have contact with? It may never happen. And if she's got influences, not often, but if she got like Alexis around, Alexis said to us, she puts people down around her because she has such low self-esteem
Yeah.
that the only way she feels good
Yeah.
is to step on people around her or make them worse. And if you already know that, then don't expect
somebody.
you don't expect something
The
different.
thing I find so shocking is that you said that out loud to somebody.
Yeah.
You don't expect different. She's being honest, and I take anybody.
That's nuts.
Well,
That's
look,
nuts.
Crazy.
I take anybody cured
I
for
don't.
being honest because I can handle truth. I can handle honesty because at least I know where you stand.
Oh, without,
Yeah.
That way,
without a doubt.
there's no misconception. Like I told her, I said, "You think that I was
But
a
what's
fool?"
crazy, and I totally agree, but what's crazy about it is that she doesn't change it. If she's
Yeah.
self-aware,
Yeah.
why isn't she
Because
doing
she's
something
happy
about
So
it?
she likes
Exactly.
She's happy where she's
That's
at.
the crazy.
Why is she happy? Because it gives her the control.
Control. It's comfortable.
Right. It gives her
Empowering.
the control. Right. And, you know, like
Purpose.
Daddy was saying, you know, where you guys are because of the grandbabies and everything. I believe too, even if Justice and Logan weren't part, you guys didn't have them right now,
Right.
you know, yet in your life or whatever, what you have built
Oh yeah.
right now, how you guys have strengthened this union, this relationship between the two of you, you guys are a very much united front, you know, all of this,
Yeah.
that in itself is good too. The
Yeah.
babies are an added,
Yeah.
you
Another.
know,
Yeah.
bonus to
With a layer.
to all of our lives, you
Yeah.
know. But I have to give, you know, kudos to the fact that even if the kids weren't around, you guys still have a very strong union.
Don't let that
Yeah.
get away from you
Yeah.
because even
Because
with
they would be
me,
they would be nothing. The kids would not even
Yeah.
exist in their personality and in everything that they stand for if it weren't for this.
but even with that,
Thank
for
you.
between the two of you guys, you wouldn't be human beings if you guys didn't run into problems from time to time.
Yeah. Right.
So if you're superhuman or what do you call that, whatever, you guys are gonna have problems from time to time. I encourage you with everything that's in me, make sure that that stays between the two of you guys, and then only the good things are shared because
Yeah.
there are other people that are hoping their ass off.
You want
that,
some yet?
No,
No.
Good
I'm
thing.
okay.
that you have difficulties that make you less human or whatever than they are. And I know it because we all go through our battles and struggles and everything, but when you see somebody, and I had all these people, in fact, I put too many people on pedestals, I guess, but I see them and I just boast about their lives and stuff, and then they tell me, Ricky, stop saying that. Man, we are in counseling right now.
That's really your problem, man.
I don't see it.
Yeah.
But the good thing is that that's a good thing. I don't see
that word counts.
I don't see it, you know. I don't see it. You know, I praise people. I see the great things they're doing, the positive things, but the bad things and stuff have been kept where it should be kept. But that is a normal. The problem is right now that our friend who would like for us to pray for them hid it for all this time. And the other two situations that we've had to pray for our friends of ours kids in that type of situation, I told Carrie, I said, man, you're serving overseas in Afghanistan. You get 2 weeks off and you can't stand to spend 2 days with your wife and 2 kids. It's something wrong. I'm telling you that this is, man, I can't wait to get home. And so those are things that common sense just tells me. So with you guys, if you don't master anything else, it's like, you know what? The good things we share with the world, and the bad things nobody will ever know.
Yeah.
And do your best and fight, because sometimes when we're angry, we say things and they pop out. You can't take them back.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah, they get stuck out.
And then they get stuck out there, and the more people that know it, the more ugly
It gets
it
ugly.
makes
Oh, yeah.
the whole situation. So I encourage you guys just to keep it between yourself. If it's a bad thing, if it's something that you've identified and you agree, we could use some help here, then by all means, you
Yeah.
know, but keep it tight.
Absentee father. Yeah, that one. It was just like.
Now, when did you hear that last?
So I think I added the absentee part, but
No, because the legend said,
said absentee.
yeah.
Oh, you did?
Yeah,
Oh,
so that's what I
never
said.
mind, man,
When
I
did you
know.
hear that last? Because a month and a half ago.
She was using it, taking it back again to that train.
So like 2 or 3, but
Yeah.
this 2-3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I said, where have you been?
Last couple years, yeah.
Yeah, and
She brought it up again when she was here.
yeah, that's what I said, and he used the same term, and I'm like, okay,
Yeah.
so
Well, what I told Ashley about that is that what irritates me is that it's one thing to see something and then have an opinion. It's another thing to talk to the person.
if I had been an absentee dad, a weekend dad, you know what? I see you once a year, Dad. If I had been something other than fighting for having my kids all the time, not half of the time, some of the time, I wanted to make sure that they had godliness experiences in everything.
Yeah.
And if, you know, when I look back at them and stuff and I say, you know what, that's my sin with you guys. What is it? Now, if they had been raised, like Alexis would never have seen 21. If my mom had raised her, there's no way in hell. She wouldn't have made it past 12.
You're right.
She'd been dead, and I'm not even a little bit exaggerating. The first time she talked back to her, the first time she said something disrespectful, would have been the last time. Now, I'm not perfect. My little sister's not perfect. But you know how close we came? Knives stuck in walls, and my mom had a good arm. Better arm than me. And I made it to the big leagues.
Yeah.
My mom she threw a plastic comb, and it went brrrr, and it stuck in a wooden door at our living room. I'm telling you, my mom said, I brought you in, I'll take you out.
Right.
I'm not putting up with it. You don't come around here. Yeah, who you think you're talking to? You think you're grown? Those were their magic words.
Yeah.
When you think you're grown, then go out and get on your own. Stop using me and acting like a child and then want to talk to me like you're an adult. My kids, you know, like right now, with what Alexis is taking me saying, you know what, Alexis, Chris can't come back to the house until he's been clean for at least a year.
Yeah.
Now, everything, because the day before that,
like a war out of
exactly, the day before that, she was begging, we were the only one she would confide in, supposedly,
Right.
is us.
Right.
Now, because I made that statement, and then she comes to, and at that point, mind you, if you talk to her, when I told her that, that was before she took all Chris's stuff and took it to his parents' house. So even she was on that page, and she was okay with it. So something happened between her supposedly taking his post to his parents, and then them getting back together. But when they got back together, then she started building this animosity towards me.
Yeah.
And so
storyline.
that's her deal. In order for me to engage, you know, I don't say this loosely. When I worked at a court center with 1,200 employees, and we had a chief executive probation officer who would make up all kind of policies and procedures, and I didn't do them just because the chief made them policies and procedures. If you want me to do something that's mindless, thoughtless, stupid, and it's just to burn and waste time, I don't do that.
Right.
Now, and this is my employer. This is my chief, my boss. You got to rethink this. You need to go and send it to 5 more committees because this is craziness. And I'm not going to be ordering people to go do stupid, ridiculous things. It has no rhyme or reason.
Right.
So at work, I did that all the time.
Right.
And even doing it as a line officer, when they kept begging me to be a supervisor, when I finally went and applied, it was because they weren't going to let me get out of that school. So I went ahead and put my application in, and she hired me as a supervisor. And everybody said, "No, nobody fought with Carrie more than you." And ultimately, I was the one that ended up getting her job taken from her too. But nobody fights with her more than you. I said, "Look at this. I want to be good. I want to be great. I want the whole country to look at us and want to emulate us."
Yeah.
She knows that's what's inside of me. That's why she wants me to be a supervisor. Why? She wants that to be disseminated to all of you guys. But at the same time, doing stuff to go through the motions and all of that, man, I can't do it. I just can't. I have to be productive and have to have a rhyme or reason. So to meet and have a meeting with anyone, I would want to know what's the goal.
Yeah.
What is it that you're trying to meet to accomplish? If you're saying that Daddy is angry with you, I'm angry with you. I'm hurt.
Yeah.
There's a big difference.
Right.
The angry is, you know what? Somebody's about to attack your ass, and I could care less.
Yeah.
Hurt means I'm still gonna protect my kids, whatever the hell they got themselves into. It's different. Her and Austin can't see it.
It may look the same, but
It may look the same. They can't see it because I'm not giving you the time of day.
Well, can they not see it, or do they choose not to see it? I think they're choosing. I honestly do, because I'm like, you can't be this blind and this naive to just think, like, I don't know. I think the truth has been twisted so much that it's become evident to me that they are choosing to take this route.
Yeah.
It's really in their control, and that's why I think I agree with you that it's a waste of time. I have a mixed opinion. I do believe that it is a waste of time because I don't think that they are mature enough to handle their own reality and their own responsibilities and bring that to the table. I just doubt that. So I think it would be a waste of time. On the other side, I think that what they're doing in creating this is the one argument I see them having and holding on to is that they are feeling that you have no compassion for them.
No.
And of course, that can easily now I'm starting to get that one thrown at me, and I've never had that thrown at me. And what that sparks is that when I feel like I've gotten that from Alexis, and I think that your mom has questioned if I'm kind of, reserved that way, and I'm realizing it, people who fear not being accepted are going to throw that like hammers at you because it keeps them safe. I don't know what it is about that, but I'm not used to it. And I think that that's a game card being played where it's like, well, he's not listening to what I'm saying, i.e., he's not agreeing with me. I think that that's where your mom is trying to do something right and saying, well, let's just hear what everyone has to say and then mature in like 1 second, and we're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I think we could all hear each other out and be the same broken record.
Yeah.
I mean, I swear, I'm sounding like a broken record now. I'm realizing I'm getting tired of hearing myself get all involved in this. I'm going, I am a broken record. So that means this must have been going on for quite some time. So I don't think it's going to progress if you get into that
because
meeting.
where's the wrong and the right?
Yeah.
I mean,
Exactly.
because it's like,
Yeah.
where's the wrong and the right lie? Because in the bottom of it, do we want to blame somewhere? So who amongst is
Right.
all going to take the blame?
Right?
I don't
And then
mind.
what? And then what? Let's just say Ricky goes, all
I'll
right,
give everything about your fuck up life is my fault.
Right.
I'll take responsibility for it. Now what happens?
Now what?
Now
You're
we're-
going to act and be a grown
Right.
person?
That's my
I don't get
deal.
that.
Because even to walk in, and Jesus wouldn't do it because he could never allow himself to sin, but even to walk in and say everything that is bad that has happened in your life, put it on my shoulders. I don't have to worry about that. Jesus already did that for me. But to walk in and say that as if I had the ability to take all
that,
of
right.
your anger or hostilities and stuff upon myself.
Where's your nose?
Okay, now, are you happy? Are you going to do backflips now?
Right.
Are you going? No, so nothing changes. So,
Are we going to move forward?
yeah, okay. So if it happened in the past, but you want the past to be addressed, I just addressed it.
Yeah.
It's all done. Is that going to change anything? No. So for Ricky, what is ultimately the reason that you want to clarify, clear the air, whatever the hell you want to do? What's the reason behind it? Because if the reason behind it is it's going to make you a more serving person, I'm all for it. If it's going to make you feel better about yourself, then you need to go deal with yourself.
Right. And this is what you hear. You hear them say, well, they want to connect with you. Which is a devious statement because if they wanted to connect with you, they would have to see it from a balanced view. But there's so much animosity, that's no way. That's why I told Alexis, I'm like, you cannot expect to connect with somebody if you're going to first strike them. They're not going to listen to you after that. You don't talk to your dad like that. You do like, this and that and the other, and then, but he's not connecting with you. No, you're not connecting with him.
No.
It's a two-way street.
Yeah.
You shut the wall. You're the one who put the wall up, and then you're complaining about the wall, is what I see. So they'll say that they're not connecting, but I don't believe that anymore because I'm wondering. I mean, what do you think? Do you think that's accurate?
Who does Alexis connect with?
No one. She's fighting everybody, and then the people that
My
are
mom.
periodically. Well, even that's.
But only
I
when your
think
mom
that's
agrees with her.
Only when it's
True.
When mommy tries to put her toe in the water, touching on something like Alexis, you need to grow up, then Alexis probably will shun her for a few
she's the
days.
enemy.
Well,
She goes
no,
back.
not only that, be careful that you don't step on the cups. But even worse than that, like I said, the day before I told her about Chris, she didn't want nothing to do with your mom. She couldn't stand her. I mean,
She was mad at her.
That was
because
just
what's his
it's like
name?
this.
yeah.
Like
And,
teeter-totter.
and so I'm like, you know what? She needs somebody to be angry with. But Sound like a broke record. That's why Alexis could not stay with us when we got married. Nothing has changed.
Yeah.
When Alexis had no place to go and no place to stay, when her mom called the police on her, where did she run to? If I'm such an evil, bad person, why did you run back here to stay? And so it will always be that way. And this is the way my brother put it. He said, brother, and my little sister Bev said the same thing. They will need you way before you ever need them.
Yeah.
And I said, it's not a matter of need.
Exactly.
I love the kids.
Right.
I live for my kids. I said, the day Austin graduated, I'm ready to die. The day Austin graduated from high school, I'm ready to die. I've done all I can do.
Yeah.
So I have no feelings of, oh, I wish I hadn't done this. I wish I had done this. Nah, I prayed before. I used to get on their mom about allowing her emotions to be so involved. With me, it was always making sure you understood what the rules were, and if you don't follow the rules, this is the consequence. You understand? Yeah. So when I had to address the consequences, it was always, now tell me, what did I say would happen if you did this, and why is that? And so then I'm spanking the kids with them willfully defying versus ignorantly just doing something stupid. And I'm just exhausted and tired and pissed off. I never spanked or whooped the kids when they didn't know why they were getting what they were getting and knew that beforehand. But with what Alexis wants right now and what Austin wants right now, for me to participate in anything, I need to know why. What are we doing it for?
Yeah.
I'm not saying and putting connection or putting ties and binds and stuff, saying that in order for me to do this with you, if we agree that, whatever, you got to become a Christian at the end of this. Now, that would be crazy and restricting. But if I go into it, give me the same courtesy and respect. If we come out of this, am I still... Because right now, I am definitely not even an equal to them. I'm not even at the peer level. I'm below that. That needs to be addressed. And they need to understand, I will never be your friend. I'm always going to be your dad.
Yep.
I'm not going to try to be your friend. Y'all buy off into the Hollywood stuff. I'm not going to try. I have to be there because when I have to answer for my parenting role, when I have to answer for being the head of a house before God, He ain't asking me nothing but, did you allow them to believe that you were okay with this, or this? Never. Not for a second, Lord. Did I ever allow them to believe that I would be condoning of things that were ungood, unhealthy, bad for them? Not for a second. Not to keep them happy. They may be my enemy or believe I'm their enemy forever. But they need to understand that I have limits and boundaries, and this is them. You may choose to go ahead and do what you're doing, but you gotta do it away from here. You can't disrespect me and do it here.
Right.
Which brought us back to our house, and the things that became issues and problems and stuff at our house is when I would find out. I'm trusting people that are around me until I have no reason to trust you.
Yep.
So initially I'm meeting you, I'm just trusting you. But then I come to find out that people are doing things, how should I say this? They've taken my trust and stomped on it. And then they're doing these things around me anyway. Then it's got to go. Not tomorrow, now. Right now.
And let's say that they turn a new leaf and they show you respect in terms of, and I mean genuine respect, not just words to try and manipulate the situation. But let's say that you felt that they genuinely said, okay. Because that's the whole problem, is if they could do that, they wouldn't have any issues. That's what I mean, it's so simple. It's so simple.
And it can't be done by Alexis because she's used to living double lives or triple lives, whatever you call it. She's crazy. How in the world can you say what you say around me to my little sister, who we don't even need a telephone to communicate?
Right.
We communicate through feelings, through telepathy. How the hell can you think?
be talking to my little sister and thinking I'm not feeling it. I'm really not exaggerating. I'm telling you that I was in Seattle and my little sister's back here and the doctors were telling her one thing and I'm telling her something different. We have a connection. We don't go through a day without talking. So how can you be really feeling or treating me the way you're treating me, then get around my little sister and then try to use some of this verbiage and bullshit around them and she's like, you lost your damn mind.
Yeah.
My little sister would have said like that, but
Right.
she's already let Alexis know.
Good.
Some people need to just go and be grown. Go on your own. And then she'll give them some examples like my sister or her kids or something like that. But my little sister's already told Alexis, yeah, you're mine. There is not another man in the world that can do for anybody what your dad has done for you. I don't care what you say. I know what he did for you guys. And so she's lost there because the only real friend she got is Marcus, which means that Marcus is over there and he's got his baby and everything. So when she comes over there, my little sister said, you know, how's your dad? And the minute she starts to lie, she's like, how the hell are you gonna live like that for 56 years? And now in the last year, you're describing the person exactly the opposite of the person that I've known for 56 years.
Right.
You know, it's crazy.
Right.
And so, and how could she possibly know everything about you? Because we talk every day.
Every day.
We don't hide nothing from each other.
Right. And the other argument that I've heard is that your kids are afraid to tell you stuff, so therefore they hid stuff from you for years.
Because it's wrong what they're hiding.
Because it's wrong.
It's wrong what they're hiding. You know what I
Well,
mean?
you won't
It's
get
like-
any disagreement from me for
Right.
that. I look at it and I'm going,
I
are
mean,
you
that's-
kidding me? Like,
A
my dad
child
would've-
is gonna A child is gonna hide
He'd bury
from
you if you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
wrong, and you don't want them to know about it.
Shameful,
I
right?
just- yeah.
You're ashamed of it. That's
Yeah.
the truth.
And the thing is, what Alexis forgets, and Austin crossed the line with the last time you had the conversation with Ricky, is that, and you don't say things to people that you say to people, and they easily forget it.
No, it doesn't go away.
That's like, although through all of this, and my prayer and my hope is that Alexis and Austin will come around
Right.
and have a relationship with their father,
Good.
because no child should not have a relationship
No.
with their parent. But I can tell you one thing, I will never ever forget what Alexis said.
Oh yeah.
No.
It's
Never.
there. Yeah.
You don't say those kinds of things to people and then just forget them.
Yeah.
You know, because you're angry, because you're mad, because you want to stop up, because you want to hurt somebody.
Yeah.
That's like, you just don't do those things, you know? And I mean, Chris is fucked up because of his drugs and whatever.
Yeah.
But he doesn't say those, he
doesn't.
shows disrespect by hurting Alexis and by doing the lifestyle he does. That's the disrespect he shows to us.
Yeah.
Because she's our daughter. But he doesn't say nasty, ugly things,
Doesn't
at least to our faces, you know, and never has. He's disrespected us in our home, all those things. But she is down right now. She's said ugly things about him. She's said ugly things. We don't forget those things.
Yeah.
We don't forget those things.
Yeah.
It's just hurtful. I don't know. I just don't know how she can.
It's anytime you stand up to her for the right reasons, she reacts not only like a child, but like a vindictive child, and very hurtful. And it's with anyone. You're right. That's the key thing, is that it's with everybody, and it's the wonder that she's going to create so many enemies that way. And it's very sad. But I've never really given her a reason to be upset at me. But the second I vocalized my support of Ashley, she attacked me, like, instantly.
You don't have a right to support Ashley. The only one who can make a call on Ashley is Alexis.
Alexis, yeah, she controls the
that's
game.
right. She does. Don't talk bad about Ashley.
Alright.
Don't
But
support
don't
Ashley.
support her, yeah.
Don't give her everything in life and be good to her, whatever. Only I can do it.
Yeah.
That's
insanity.
like insane.
Yeah, it's like,
Now, I will agree, Alexis took on a lot. At her age, in the midst of everything that was going on at that time, she was, as the oldest child, she was exposed to some very harsh realities. There are probably things that she has to get off her chest and get beyond. Because it were things that no girl at her age should probably have to handle.
right,
You know, it was a very unfortunate situation.
yeah.
But again, it goes back to how long are you going to blame people for
Exactly.
You know, how long are you gonna blame people for those things? You can't.
And take a chapter from someone else's book. There are other people out there who have been through similar, if not worse things, and they straighten it out. And you have a decision to make. Do you want to straighten it out, or do you want to just keep festering and
The cycle has to break somewhere.
somewhere?
You know,
And
the
it's up to
cycle,
you.
right,
It's
the
no one's gonna
cycle,
do it
right.
for you.
The cycle has to break somewhere, somehow, and it will, and it will, or it won't.
Or it won't.
Or it won't. It
You
won't.
know, I think I made a clear breakthrough with Deanna where I said, have you noticed that every time that you say something that is very, very, maybe true or false, everyone's got their own truth, I guess, but if you look at it and say, factually, this makes sense, it's logical, you should not do this or you should do this. If it doesn't agree with her mode of operation, she avoids, she doesn't even respond to it. She just gets angry, blames you for something that is in the past, and then never addresses that issue. She never works at anything. She is constantly deflecting. I said, every time that you tell her, look, Alexis shouldn't be doing this, shouldn't be smoking pot, shouldn't be, Chris is hurting you. It's as though that is not the truth. That is so far away from anything it's good advice
You don't
at the
know.
end of the day. It's actually helpful if you really stop and look at it, but she can't detach herself from her position. She's constantly dug into, I have to win this fight because if I don't win, then I don't know, life's over? I don't know.
This goes back to her last conversation at the house when she came to visit us, because it was right before the dinner at the melting pot when Mommy
Yeah.
and Mark had just gotten back together. And she came over to ask for my advice, and I said to her, and that was the same night I said to her about us living our lives for each other and our grandkids, and then she took it and construed it as we don't love her because she doesn't have a baby. But I said to her, Alexis, at the end of the day, you can tell your mom how you feel about Mark. You can be angry about it, you can whatever, but it's your mom's life. You know, you don't support your mom. That's not your life. Your life is Chris's. And you guys can't make the calls on her life. You know, I hate like whenever we're together, they argue and they fight. So let her know that bothers you, and that if we're gonna come around and we're gonna hang out, you can be upset about those things. You know, we don't want to be there if that's going to happen. I said, but you can't make the call on who she dates and who she loves and who she lives with. You just can't do that. You know, you can voice what you feel, but that upset her. She wanted to have control on that. Like, Mom, how can you be with somebody that this, and that? And it's not. That's the first thing she's got to do is give up control of everybody's life.
Huge control of it.
So,
Well, you guys do
Well,
this.
nothing's changed is what it came down to.
Yeah.
Really nothing has changed. What I feel which is very beneficial is just knowing the playing field as to what's going on. I think that the good intention that they wanted was to maybe know more about Ricky's side. And I don't think that genuinely comes from them, that comes from us, because we were saying, you don't see him the right way. But is a meeting going to do that? As I think about it, I just don't, they've got to have an internal change. That's got to be something they come
It's looking at my old siblings. That there were 7 of us raised in the same house, and 5 out of the 7 thought my dad was as perfect a father as you could imagine, anybody could have. 2 out of the 5 raised in the same damn house feel like all he did was ruin their lives forever.
Right.
Now, I got
view, right?
one. She's 68 years old.
she's still.
My dad's been dead for 34 years. And she's 68 years old. Yet, where she's at in life right now is all because of my dad. And I'm like,
But she still feels the same way about it.
still,
Still
just as angry today as she was supposedly back then. And then my brother Paul. And then when my brother Paul, I went to see him at the hospital right the week he died. And then I went to his, that was at the hospital because we went to the apartment together. Went to the hospital, and then he said, yeah, the old man. I look back, and if it hadn't been for the old man, he would never have done anything with his life. Because my dad was, you're not going to go to school, you're going to work.
Right.
So he took him to the service station, he had to work with it. And he hated it, learned how to fix tires, repair tires and all that stuff. But that's what he did at Heckler Mine. Now, when he got and left where my dad's station was, where he was working, he went to Heckler Mine or Sarkos Mine, one of those mines.
Yeah.
And then, so now he's making $350, $400 a week. My dad's making $175.
Yeah.
Okay, so my
Yeah.
brother started making twice as much as my dad, and now I didn't realize he was making a lot of money. That's why he could buy a $40,000 house, work in a year or two, and he could buy a really nice house in Casa Grande for cash.
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Because that was hardly any
setup.
money.
Yeah.
So anyway, but to listen to him. So when I said, when he died, we were cleaning the apartment. And I said, well, Paul told me, he's so glad that Dad had been on him the way he was on him, so that on discipline and working and being responsible and all that. And because if it hadn't been for my dad, he never would have, had
Work
a
ethic.
skill or anything to work in life. And then my sister, who's angry, she's the oldest, she's like, that's news to me. I said, well, it could be news to you, but it'll be news to you, but
Just like that.
I wasn't hearing it by myself. I said George and I heard it together. So I said, so when so when she, in her anger or her place in life and her mentality, she's still adamantly looking. Just like when my dad died, everything had gotten put in my name. When safe deposit boxes, all of that kind of stuff. The house was put in my name, everything. When I got back, everybody was panicking because we came back from Colombia, South America. It took 2 days to get back. We got back, and when we got there, everybody's panicking. We know he had a safe. We know he had cash stashed in his house. And I said, well, then y'all didn't know him then, did you? I said, now, if you knew him at all, where in the hell would he have money?
Right.
Someplace where he could have his hands on it all the time. So you move the bed back, pull the carpet back, and there's cash. And now what do you need? We don't have the keys to the safe deposit box. I said, y'all don't know him. Where would he leave keys to the safe deposit box? If he's at home, his hand, and that's maybe why I sleep with my hand off the side of the bed. Because his hand would always be on his valuables.
Secret, yeah.
Okay, so
Yeah.
here's the keys to the mailbox, the safe deposit box. They went down there. It's in your name. Oh, I know that. You didn't ask me that. So we'll go down there, get everything, give it to my mom. And then she found out a couple weeks later that the house was in my name. And I said, Mom, he did all of that before I left to go to Colombia. And I told him, I don't know why you're doing this. But anyway, I come back, I do it. Probably because I respected probably no human being more than I respected my dad. And he saw that, and even with George, with his work ethic and all of that stuff, he put everything in my name because I was the one that he could go to his deathbed knowing this is how I wanted it, and Ricky's gonna live it out, just the way I wanted it.
Yeah.
And so that's why I'm sure he did everything, and everybody else's wasn't thought of. And then I look at like Alexis and Austin and where they're at in life right now. Somewhere along the line, even with my two angry siblings who said all of the harsh things that they ever said about my dad, the other 5 of us look at it and just say, there was no chance in hell of me being where I am today if it hadn't been for my dad.
Yeah.
My kids are growing up, and none of them are at a place where they're sitting there and they're saying, this is what I credit to my dad. And it's almost like they didn't experience or see me the whole time they were growing up.
Yeah.
But the whole world did.
Right.
And they will never ever have to worry that someplace down the line somebody came out of the closet with some spider webs or something and said this harsh shit about their dad. Because it could never have happened.
Right.
And I stayed above reproach. Why? Because I kept myself in the light. I don't have secrets. I don't have a life where I gotta just don't let anybody know you're doing this. No, that's a double standard life, and that's something I don't ever want to
And they
be.
keep calling this out on you, though. I keep hearing it over and over that the reason, the things that you did for them was to show everyone else that how great you were. It's really about your image versus caring about them. And that just goes to, not that I believe in that crap, it goes to show that's the same issues that they have with their inability to do something for, whether it be the right reasons or because they really feel it. I think they have so much of a facade up that they're pretending to be someone else that they're projecting all this onto you. I mean, it's a classic case of the stranded child. You know, it's kind of like, I don't want to be responsible. I don't blame my dad for everything. And I think that call out where they're saying, I hate to say it because I know that must be, I don't know, you seem to be very able to handle this, but that's some hurtful shit. I mean, that's some really hurtful stuff to hear your own kids say, well, you know, whatever he gave me, it was only because he was showing off to other people. He didn't give me those things because he cared about
is
me.
the only one who was saying
She's the only one that says that, but thanks. That has to be clarified. But it's so ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. And from a newbie here, an outsider's perspective, when I just sense character, the types of interactions, the things that I've heard and seen in terms of, you know, how everyone's acting, I swear it's like not so much Austin. I would say Alexis is just so out of control.
Yeah.
It's just really out of control. And then you've got this rock over here, which is over in your world. And it's so obvious to me that it's sad. It's sad that she can't see it as easily. And I don't know why Deanna doesn't get a broader perspective. I don't know why she keeps going down to the protective angle, overly protective angle, and looking at this from a minute place. And I think what we did when the last time we talked with her is we opened it a bit.
No.
But she's scared to do that. And
Well,
whatever
she can't, because we fought
Yeah.
worse when we were divorced than we fought when we were together.
Yeah.
Because there had to be some agreements when we were together. There was no agreement. And in order for her, knowing what she had done to these kids for 5, 6, 7 years, when she got her own place, they had no rules. They had no boundaries.
Right.
And it's out of guilt. And it's like, man, even if you don't want to raise them as Christians, this is not good for them.
Right.
Well, why do you let them, think this way, act this way, behave this way, and support and encourage this bullshit?
Right.
Why do you do that? And it's out of guilt.
Right.
So that was going to be a battle. So everyone, that's why I say, I'm glad. I have lifelong friends. And when you look at people who are heavily involved in my life and my kids' life for 15-year span, and you look at them, they were sitting here and I said, man, it takes 2-3 days when the kids come back from their mom to realize where they're at. Because it is so opposite. And so when things would flare up, it would be stupid stuff like, her mom and Darren can't make a mortgage payment, so they need to borrow money from me when you make it 3 times as much as me. Yet, when I turn back and I tell her, God's not going to bless you. You're living in sin. You're just shacking up with this dude. Our kids weren't raised to be condoning of this. So even though we're divorced, why are you acting and showing them the very sins of the world that they got to fight already? Why are you doing this? So even in stuff like that, those are the only times that I could say something. If she called me, like she called me at 1:30 in the morning because she don't have a friend to talk to because of what's going on between her and Darren, and then I tell her something, you know what, you need to cut your losses. You're asking me, what should you do? I shouldn't even be into this discussion. But I'm telling you, if you already know this and this and this about him, and you've already lost all your equity in your other house, you need to cut your losses now. It ain't gonna get no better. Okay? Y'all only know each other for a year and a half, and you're already out of it. And so,
ditch.
And so they go back, and those types of things would come up. But it was always, I was on the negative end of it, whether it was being accepting of Alexis's piercings, tattoos. Austin, I found out at the divisionals wrestling meet, somebody said, when did Austin get a tattoo? And they were warming up and stuff. I said, Austin don't have any tattoos. Ain't that your son right there? I beat him. The day before, he had gotten a tattoo. So the things that we agreed on when we were married were the things that she threw away, and she said, "I'm not going to stick with them." When we got divorced, and so the piercings, the tolerance for the piercings, tattoos, and all of that stuff, she got to be the winner, if you want to call it that.
She's a good cop. You're the bad
She's
cop.
a good cop. I'm a bad cop. And so I'm going back and I'm saying, I'm still don't condone it. I'm not accepting of it.
Right.
When you're 18, do whatever the hell you want. It's your body. But until you're 18, just live under these rules.
Exactly.
And so when we go back, and everything that the kids wanted that I didn't agree with, they could not have when they were with me. When they were with her, then it's fine, it's okay. But you got to remember, when you come back, you're still not, how should I say that? You're not at your mom's house, and so there was friction, but that's to be expected. It's to be expected when you have two people, and they're both not coming from anywhere remotely close to the same place in parenting.
Yeah.
And so when I went through and I took the kids and had them in counseling and all of that stuff, I took what the counselor said to heart. And I said, okay, followed it to the T.
Yeah.
Their mom would go out and I would tell her, the counselor said this, the counselor said this, the counselor said, oh, I know that. Oh, I know. But then you're doing the opposite. So now I'm really battling.
Right.
Because now I've been told the best way to handle this. And I have a person who's doing the opposite, which to the kids, it only looks like mom cares more about me, or mom's more, it's more fun to be at mom's house than to be at my house.
I see that clearly. I mean, I see it in her personality. I see it in your personality. Do you see that? I mean, because
I see that now. I didn't see it then.
Yeah, it's
But when
shocking,
they were little, when she first moved out, Ashley, you and Austin used to jump that fence and come over to my house.
Mm-hmm.
When you're supposed to be with your mom.
Yeah.
But I wasn't sitting there saying, you know what, this is your mama's time. You need to be over there. Wherever you guys were going to be happy. Because I wasn't going to change the structure and the rules in the house.
Mm-hmm.
But if y'all would rather be here to be over there, I would rather you to be here than be over there.
Mm-hmm.
And so they would be at the house. Okay? They've been there. I went and got them at 10:30, 11, 12 o'clock at night. I don't know, 5, 6, 7 times.
Really?
At front of their moms, because nobody was there. There was no parental
Is it
supervision.
because it was an empty house?
No, because she was out at the bars and stuff.
Yeah, I remember times me and my brother and my sister would hide in the playground in front of my mom's apartment. And so that my mom was scared when she came home, wondering where we were. We would hide
Because
from.
you were angry that she had
Yeah.
Okay, but I went over there when they would call me and they would say, we don't know, where's your mom at? I don't know. I'd go get them, bring them home. And then she'd come home at 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the morning, being mad at me for going and making sure my kids are safe.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
But
Always turning the table.
exactly.
Every time,
But
every time.
even during those times, the kids are younger, and I'm thinking they don't even realize. I don't even know. So to make a long story short,
Yeah.
it was always going to be more fun, and you know, when you don't have rules and boundaries and stuff, and moms over there versus being someplace where you already know up front.
Yeah.
I know Daddy ain't gonna like this.
You're not gonna let me do
Daddy
this.
not gonna let me do this. Daddy, and it's like restricting.
Yeah.
Where Alexis is right now, she couldn't handle a kid
Yeah.
at all.
Exactly.
The kid would be removed by CPS within 2 years.
Yeah.
Guaranteed.
Absolutely.
The first person that smells marijuana while she's, I don't know, walking the baby or at the park or whatever, they're going to call 911. Hey, there's a parent over here. I think you need to do a home drop-by or something. And that's it. Because she can't change and stop doing what she's doing. I appreciate, you know, the fact that you guys, you know, you're trying to think of.
It's hard to
Candace-
cope with. It's
yeah.
hard to understand. I think I'm struggling for a temporary period of time over because it is so impossible. It's so outlandish. Like it's ridiculous to me. It's not something I've ever seen. I guess my Hawaiian family does some crazy stuff.
Yeah.
But this just seems so wrong. Like it just is something very difficult for me to cope with. So
And it could be so good.
And it could be
It really
so
could be
simple.
so.
And the
I mean,
worst
because
part
we
is,
all right now are of an age where it's just like we could all be really enjoying each other's lives as
and that
best as we
is so
can.
important.
And
Yeah.
it's just such
Uh,
I don't know. I
It's a
feel
shame.
really I don't know.
You know, and the thing which I know, because you know, when you lose your parent, it's like
Yeah.
you realize that line has been crossed where there is no going back.
Yeah.
And that, I don't know, for me that was a profound change in my life. And I look at them and I'm going, I said it to Alexis, I'm like, don't do this, because if you keep going down this path, one day you're not going to have your dad, you're going to regret it. I have no regrets of my dad, but I still feel like
Yeah.
I didn't have enough. You know, it's like,
Right, enough.
damn, like
Yeah.
what, I wish I could have
And
a
even,
minute.
well, even me at my age losing, you know, dad's been gone the same as your mom. What, how many years is that now?
Yours has been gone 10, mine has been
Okay.
gone
But
11.
like I said to Rick, there's so much I would like, God, if you could see my life now and how happy, you
Right.
know, to finally,
So much
because
to
when he
share.
passed away, I was still in a turmoil situation, you know,
Oh,
and
right,
like
right.
Dad, I would give anything for you to see the happiness now, to finally see somebody that's made my life good, a good
Very
life,
good.
you know, and taking care of us and all of
Yeah.
those. So, I mean, you will always long for that. You will
Huge,
always,
right?
and there is no
Yeah.
making that up. And I feel for Alexis
felt
too,
bad.
because if Eve were in a relationship right now, Alexis would be lost.
Yeah.
That's
If mommy were in a
That's true.
relationship, because, and which is right, her relationship would be requiring everything,
Yeah.
you know, about her right now, because it takes so much. You guys know what it takes to maintain a relationship. And as we get older, people don't have, you know, aren't gonna have, yeah, they're your children, but they don't have the same tolerance as if you guys were young and a little one. So I mean, her whole life would be consumed with the relationship, and Alexis would be lost. She
Yeah.
would be absolutely lost.
When you're a
You never
kid though,
forget
when you're a
that.
kid though, you don't, when you look at your parents, you see them as your parents. Their job is to be
Your
your
parent.
mother or your father,
Yeah.
and they don't have a life. They shouldn't have a life.
Right.
Your expectations is that you're their
You're
life.
the life.
You're the
Yeah.
one.
So you don't really cut them the slack.
slack.
Yeah,
Mhm.
and
Like I was doing with my mom, you're right. The appreciation factor, and look what age I was. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, sometimes it takes a long time, sometimes it takes
Sure.
a situation.
Well, all I can say is, you know, where Alexis is at, where Austin is at, I happen to believe God is in control of everything. And I also believe Romans 8:28, and all things work together for good.
Yeah.
It's the same thing with Alexis and Austin for me. What's the goal?
Yeah.
And the goal doesn't have to have any thoughts about, is there something in it for Ricky? But the goal definitely has to say, I want to do this because I want this as an outcome, or I want this as the outcome.
Yeah.
Otherwise, if you're, how do you put it? This is why drug people can never succeed in trying to be counseled out of their drug addictions. They have to want it.
Exactly.
The person that's got to change has to want to change before they can change. There is no doctor, psychologist, counselor in the world that can change somebody who don't want to change.
Yeah.
Okay?
Period.
So where the issues that I'm seeing in line is, I'm walking around here and I don't have a feeling that, you know, other than, like I said, kids just don't respect me. I'm not walking around here and people aren't going to see me saying, gosh, man, Ricky just looks so depressed. He's depressed, man, because kids don't respect him. You're not going to see it. It ain't going to happen.
Yeah.
But for Alexis and Austin,
Wow.
they're walking around and they want something to change.
Yeah.
What is it?
Right. I think, and I definitely don't know the answer 100%, but I think what the curveball that you're throwing them, just trying to understand with the
Mhm.
crazy places they're coming from, is that the curveball you're throwing them is that your non-reaction is a sign that, one, you don't care, and two, they can't get through to you.
Mhm.
And that's, I think that's what they're telling themselves in their head, and what they're missing is that they don't understand the place that you're coming from, which is not a place of you're not disregarding them.
Mhm.
You're trying to actually show them what it is to be healthy.
Mhm.
I think they're misconstruing how you are as a person and they're turning it into their own answer, which is, well, it must mean that I'm not loved, and that must come from a childhood of some sort. There's something there where they're stuck, and they're not willing to move forward. And you could take it at one view and say, well, if you showed them empathy and played their game, and this is why I don't believe that would work. But if you did that, they may think, well, that's all I need. But then I think the record restarts. I think it starts again, and they find another reason why you're not paying enough attention to them.
Yeah.
And then that's the next thing. And why do I believe this? Because their mother's doting on them every step of the way. It doesn't change a damn thing. She's constantly there going, you're the best. Yeah, I've never seen so much rah-rah bullshit in my life. And I'm just like, it's great to stand behind your kids and be happy about it. I believe in that. I'm going to be the same way with her, like cheering her on. I think that's a great thing. But then there's a line where it gets creepy. Like it's not necessary. Where's the hard stuff in the world? The world isn't all Candyland.
Yeah.
There's tough stuff too, and you need to address that. And when you don't see that balance, it's weird. It's like you're trying to be their best friend, and
Well, you know, and it could have been, Kieran, just to give you, it could have been just the opposite. If I had allowed the 1994 court order for our divorce to stand,
yeah,
they never would have started her mom.
right.
Okay, now, she would have had no influence in her life. If I had them 100% of the time, then being who I am and them seeing me as their dad and stuff wouldn't have been challenged every day, and it would be ideal. So then when her mom comes in there, they would see it as, you trying to buy me? You know what? I know that if I want things in life, I have to work for it.
Right.
Anytime somebody's trying to give me something for nothing, I need to be suspicious.
Yeah.
What do you
That's the
want?
reality, yeah.
What do you? That's reality.
That's reality.
But that's not her mom. So their mom. So when you look at it and you see that the amount of time that they were around her and everything, and for her who has never accomplished anything in her life. For me, who's always been driven by accomplishments, 13 years to get to the big leagues, who in the hell is going to dedicate 13 years of their life to doing one thing to get to the top?
Yeah.
It just ain't going to happen. Very few people, that's why very few people get there.
Very few people. Well, that's what so Ashley, when I first met her, she told me, because I was like, she said, I said, who's your dad? And you said Ricky Nelson. I said, Ricky. I'm like, it didn't hit me, and then she said, yeah, you used to play baseball, and I'm like, Ricky Nelson, Major Leagues. I actually didn't know who you were. And when she told me, I was like, I remember standing right here, you were in there, and I was like, whoa, I'm like, really, your dad is Ricky Nelson? I got excited. But Ashley was like, You were like,
Honestly,
yeah, I know.
he never made a big deal about it. Like the communication was always lacking. kind of. So
When I
he didn't make a
first
big
did,
deal about it
and I
to
told
me,
you that.
so
said
I didn't
that
make
to
a
him.
big
There
deal
was
about it.
When he had his love, his way of loving and showing all those things were all, providing, cooking, cleaning, though that's how he would show them. That's what he knew. But he was constantly in drive mode, constantly. Unless he was sleeping for the minimal amount of time he was sleeping.
Right.
There was no communication. That's why I said to him when it comes back, look how big the kids were. And I said to him, do the kids know why he ever got a divorce? And he says, I've never had that conversation. I mean, you're talking Austin was 18. Alexis was how old at that time? And he himself had never ever had a conversation with the kids on why their mom and dad
So
were
they didn't know a
together.
lot about
No.
where.
And what they did know, they did not know it from him. They only knew it, had they had that conversation with Dee, I don't know.
Gotcha.
So, and even when we would be in the house, and because at that time Alexis and Austin were living there, and the kids would just come and go out of the house, they would just walk out of the house and go. And I used to say to him, did the kids just leave? And he's like, I don't know. I'm like, what do you mean you don't know? He goes, I don't know. And I go, well, yeah, they just left. I go, they didn't say goodbye to you. And he goes, yeah. I go, you didn't say goodbye to them. They didn't say goodbye to you.
You fell into a program.
Right.
You used a program to just
And then
survive.
right, and then
Survival
yes,
mode.
and then I
There's
said,
no time to
right,
talk.
I said to him, do you ever tell the kids you love them? But he'd be on the phone. Okay, bye. I'll see you later. I go, you didn't tell them. You didn't tell Ashley. I love you, Ash. I'll talk to you later. Never. And I don't even know if he realized he didn't do it.
Did you?
So,
You're just like,
right, so then,
moving.
right, so
gotta keep
Yeah.
above water.
So then it got to be where I noticed Alexis would, where are you going? Well, we're going here, going there. He goes,
Yeah.
okay, I'll see you later, bye, I love
Yeah.
Then he started saying, but he didn't even realize he wasn't. When we were first married, probably, I mean, he still does it occasionally, he'll walk out of the house and go. Boom, the car's gone, he's gone. Well, what the hell? You don't even say goodbye.
I do that
It's like, everybody's the same way. It's like, bro,
Hello.
she's so like efficient, right?
Yeah,
Efficiency.
efficiency.
Very big trait.
Yeah,
Same thing.
efficiency or whatever. He
And
goes,
if
well,
you
I
come
told you this morning I was gonna go to Home Depot. I'm like, yeah, but you didn't say goodbye, you know? So it's just stuff like that, you know, to where, and there have been times where I find myself doing it to him to show him,
Yeah.
you know, how does this feel,
Mhm.
you know? And it's not, I know you love me, I know,
Yeah.
but you, sometimes you just need to hear it. So that's the kind of thing, so if they're, so maybe those are the little things that they noticed, or that they didn't
I think
notice that
they
were
take
different
those
from
big
him,
things, yeah.
as opposed to Dee, okay, but there wasn't a thing they wanted for, or a roof over their head, or food on their table, or clothes, you know, but he's a man, you
Well-
know, and there are just some things that, I mean, my
But-
dad was a widower for 12 years with 2 daughters, and he says, you know, I was a good father, my dad was a great father, and I raised my daughters great, but there's certain things that I as a man can't give to a child because I'm not a woman. I don't have that woman thing in me that, you know, I'm more of a program, as a provider, so I don't know, I
But here we are today.
Yeah.
This is the bottom line with all that, and that makes all perfect sense, and I appreciate understanding that, because you look at it today, and you can either decide to hold on to the past of things that
Right.
are also understandable. I mean, my dad made tons of mistakes, and I still view him as the perfect dad, right?
Right.
But he messed up so much stuff. I look back and now I laugh at it because he did the best he could. He's
Yeah.
not supposed to be perfect, and he
Right.
was. You know, he's sitting in his heavens. But the thing is that he did what he could, you know, and he loved me. That's all I needed.
Right.
But I look at it today and I'm going, okay, so your dad's here. He's easy to talk to, very easy to talk to. You've got a decision to make. Are you going to talk? Are you going to respect him as a human being and your father and just talk? Or are you going to be a child and blame him for the rest of your life? And maybe it just comes down to it's as simple as that. You either start to recognize that you have a great opportunity to have a relationship with your father. After a lot of the tough times have gone, you're now in a future mode. You know, you're looking at what's next. I don't think they want to move forward. I just don't see it.
I just think Alexis needs somebody to blame.
Yeah, she always looks for an enemy.
Austin, I think, is just in the middle of this. I don't
Yeah.
think because he even said when Alexis and Ricky first were talking and we lived in the new house, he even said, I just tell Alexis, you gotta get out, you gotta move on, you gotta get over this, you know? So I'm not sure he even feels the way he truly feels, you know?
No.
How this all came about, I'm not sure Austin's on board with 100%,
Yeah.
but I just think it comes down to Alexis truly wants to blame somebody for the unhappiness, you know? And if there's not somebody to blame, then where will the unhappiness be? It'll be gone. And then what will she do? If the
No,
unhappiness-
there'll always be
Doesn't
somebody.
have a big enough
She'll-
life to enjoy.
She'll be able to find somebody to fill the void, to be a target. The thing that kills me is, you know, the kids being around my family and stuff. Trish, Bev, George especially.
Yeah.
Being around those three. And then, in order to be around them, some people call sharing what's going on in your family gossip. Okay? In my family, I want to know the truth of what the hell's going on in your life.
Exactly.
I don't want to know. I don't. You know what? If I can help, tell me so I can help.
Right.
Don't try to act like you got your shit together when your life is in dumps, or you know you're financially rich, this close to being rich. when you're about to lose your house.
Right.
Yeah.
Why the hell are you going to tell me after you lose the house? I
Yeah.
could have helped you. You know, this is how my family thinks.
Yeah.
This is not how Dee, her mom, and all of them think. So, what is Alexis being exposed to? Right now, there was a time in her life where she knew Carrie and I were there, and even with all the crap that's gone on with Chris, if it meant her house was being at risk, we're gonna help you. She threw that away. She knows she's thrown that away. That's another thing that, always knowing, like I felt about my dad before he died. He was my God, he was my rock.
Yeah.
No matter what happens in my life, especially in this society and in this world,
Yeah.
my dad would always, he would be there, and I could count on the fact,
Yeah.
that my dad's gonna be there, and as sure as he's alive, I've got somebody's got my back.
Yeah.
Now, when he died, it was gone.
That's-
I'm
I know
all
that feeling.
on my own.
Oh my gosh. I know
I'm
that
on my own. Who do I run to? Uh-oh.
feeling. Right.
This is no
Avoid.
me now.
Yeah.
And so to have a family, even put more on my shoulders. Now Alexis has been carrying Chris. And if she were to have a baby, like I said, it's hard enough to carry someone who you're working together as a team, as a partnership, to try to do and have something. You've got somebody in your house who's working against you. You are pretending you can't see it, but he's working against you right now. Just as sure as he's attached to drugs, he's working against you, and he's eating you up
Yep.
from the inside out. But when it comes to a place where it sounds like it did around Thanksgiving or Christmas, whenever he was coming out, or January, he was coming out, and she had reached a place where she said, you know what, all he's doing is taking all the life out of me. And she reached that place. And her mom will never be able to do anything. She, unfortunately, Austin shared a lot of stuff with us, and he'd be at the house and he'd tell us, my mom couldn't even eat. I had to run some money over to her so that she would have, food, money to eat with. But all I'm seeing or hearing, I don't see it, I hear it on, Facebook, is how she's, she's doing this and she's doing that. She's doing all these damn projects.
things.
Does she not realize that God did, if He didn't provide the resources for you, you're not supposed to do it?
Right.
That you're not buying your way into heaven. So if you think you are, you're dead wrong.
Yeah.
So if you're putting yourself into that kind of a hole where you don't even have money to eat on and stuff, then you're not, this isn't godliness. This is, Satan at the helm.
Lost.
And when Austin would tell us stuff like that, I'm like, I praised her when she would buy you guys tickets to go to everything. All everything that she did that was Christian related. I tell Carrie, I'm sure Carrie didn't like hearing it from me. I said, what can I say? I'm so thankful that their mom would do this for them. That's what she heard from me. And it would eat her up because she would post it all the time. Until Austin tells me that she's doing that or doing other things, and then she don't have food to eat. That doesn't make sense to me. What, you trying to buy the kids? What the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
When you guys go around and you say, here, I want to give you something for your birthday, I want to give you something for Christmas. What have I told you guys? For me.
You don't need anything?
No, not only do I not need anything, by you being self-sustaining, self-sufficient, you are giving me a gift. This is the happiest day of my life, is to rest and go to sleep saying, everybody ate tonight, everybody got their bills so that they can kind of manage them, and let me rest, rather than always being worried about my damn kids.
Yeah.
Always. And then you're scuffling, struggling, and then you digging yourself deeper in the debt by trying to give me a gift. That ain't no gift. I want to give it back now. That you need to eat. This is not making me more comfortable and bring me more peace and joy. It's bringing me misery, more concern, more worry. and stuff. So the way that Alexis is living right now, one of the things, boy, somebody having a good time.
Hey,
Yeah.
He's like, I'm awake.
But the way they are living, you know, it's pretty damn.
You think Alexis
Sketchy.
is, you know, when all this happened with Chris, when he got in trouble and he had to go to jail, which we still don't even know the reason why he went to jail, but do you think it's at that moment when that happened, which is right around the same time Daddy said, I don't want Chris here anymore. I don't want him back until he's, and then he got in trouble and he had to go to jail. She couldn't come to his dad with that information because Daddy had already said to her, you know, Alexis, marrying Chris is gonna give you a set of worries and troubles that you're not gonna need, blah, 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 blah. So, do you think it's because she felt lost and didn't have a place to run to when all this came down about Chris? Because she knew she couldn't come to him with it? So, in not being able to come to him with this stuff, she created this now new angry thing
Yes.
with your dad?
Exactly. Right.
Because when she needed him the most, which is the most, I mean, other than her being, when she got really sick, this is like a very tragic thing that's happened to her in her life. So at a moment when she needed the person, the strongest person to be by her side, which would be your dad,
Yeah.
she couldn't come to him because the reasons as to why Chris was in trouble and all the things that Chris had done and, you know, stealing from you and stealing from her and all this is not acceptable to him, and it's everything he
Exactly.
said was absolutely gonna happen.
Yes.
Exactly.
So in lieu of that, she's now she's gonna
Now
build
she's
up
mad.
an anger and mad over that. So
Instead of recognizing that what was said was done in love and concern and that she needs to change her life, maybe she needs to be
Right.
introspective and take a look at what's going on, she goes and plays
Right.
the easy card, which is, yeah, I'm just gonna be angry.
right.
He doesn't love me, that makes it all go away.
And the funny thing is, because we never said she couldn't come over. You know, it's not like we didn't want her.
Exactly.
I keep telling
Keep
her that.
opening that one up going,
It was like we
"You can
only
go."
said Chris could not come there, and she said it when we saw her at Christmas at Aunt Bev's house. He said to her, "What are you doing here?" Well, she says, "Well, I said my husband wasn't welcome, and when my
You're not
husband was
welcome, I'm not welcome.
I'm not welcome."
I said,
So
well, you can
again,
be
she
mad
took
at
it
me.
and she
I
turned-
still love you,
Yeah.
but you can be mad at me as long as you want. That was at
Yeah,
Christmas.
Christmas we saw it
Yeah.
yes. So
I mean, and here's the simple solution, this is what blows me away, is that the simple solution is to get over your pride, which is whatever, I don't even know what the pride is, but to get over this issue that something bad has happened.
right.
Chris
Oh my
has
goodness.
failed
Hey.
miserably and has very little hope of change.
Hey!
Getting to terms with that reality is crucial. And then accepting it for what it is, and then going, I need help. And then you go to your dad and you say, I made these mistakes. I hear what you said. It makes sense. I don't know if I can cut Chris off completely, but I need to take steps to help prevent it. Help me.
Right.
Yeah. Or I need to do
But she's
something.
so afraid of being told, I told you so. She's so afraid of being told,
Yes.
you know, you failed. She's
Yeah.
so afraid, you know, this is what I told you was gonna happen. She, you know,
Can't accept it.
right, she can't accept that. And she doesn't want, she would rather be angry at us than to say, throw her arms up in the air and say, I can't do it.
Right.
I can't do this alone. I can't make him well. I can't make her life good together. I need help. She can't do that, and she won't do it. Because then she'll be looked at as a failure, in her mind, as a failure in her dad's eyes.
Exactly, and then she adds another layer on top of that, which is, well, if I resist and I show that I'm angry, it's actually a sign of strength, meaning I'm not giving in.
Yeah.
That's the misinterpreted, that is the biggest misconstrued fact right there, which is,
Yeah.
this is a sign of strength, when in actuality, it's not only a sign of stubbornness, it's a sign of maybe some mental health issues, because you really can't get to the truth of anything. You're getting further and further away from what's reality.
Yeah.
It's very scary. My dad told me one thing that I will never, ever forget, and it's always a quote from Shakespeare. But he said, basically, be true to yourself. Everything else out there can be whatever it is.
Yeah.
But as long as you're true to yourself, if you just face the mirror every day you're gonna be alright. Everything else can be confusing, you may be lost, but if you at least are honest with yourself, then you can be honest with everybody else in the point. But
And I would respect her
it's
more
hard.
if she would have come to us and said, you know what, I love Chris, and
Yeah.
I'm not ready to give up on him.
Exactly.
He's my husband, and I love him, and I think if we fight enough, hard enough together, we're gonna overcome this. And
And accept the
and we
terms.
would probably say, okay, that's your life, you choose,
Right.
but we still don't want Chris here. We don't want to turn you away. You are
Right.
always welcome in our home. We are always here to help you. But if that's the way you feel, I support you for your thought, for the way you feel.
Yeah,
You know, but I can't support what you're doing.
yeah.
But
And
then-
just from a logical
Right, but then
stance.
we'd all be on the same page with each
Exactly,
other.
you would. And from a logical stance, just being pure logically, those are pretty good terms.
Yeah.
This guy has kicked over Traces plenty of times.
Yeah.
He has a personality issue on top of it, which makes it hard for him to even express. Like, how does he get to the place where he can even stand up and say what he's doing?
Yeah.
Who knows if he can get there? And you're accepting of that, going, he's just got to stay clean for a year, man. That's like,
Yeah.
I don't even think you can get better terms than that. Because how can you actually acknowledge to yourself that, yeah, I'm going to take, here's my drug addict wife, I'm going to bring her into my family's home and they're going to pretend that nothing's going on.
Yeah.
And they're going to have to suck this up and swallow this for the whole time, disrespectful as it is. They're just going to have to live with it. Why? Because she signed a piece of paper with me that says we're married. That's why. I mean, regardless if there's love or not, none of it makes sense to me. I'm just like, why would you even put your family or anyone in that situation? You
Yeah.
got a broken home and you need to fix it before you start impacting other people.
Well, that and like when Carrie had her previous husband, you know, they were never around her family.
Yeah.
Okay, and it's understood. He's a druggie. And you know what? I can't trust him in our own house because she carried her purse under her arm like damn. When I was with her, it was like
I slept with my
her checkbook and everything
my
was
wallet, my
always
checkbook, my
all of her
jewelry.
jewelry
I was
was
sleeping under my pillow,
in
inside
her-
my pillowcase.
in her purse.
Padlock on it.
I said, well, and then when you walk in the door, you know, we come in after the baseball game and clack, 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 clack. Her and Zach were going around, man. I was afraid that they were trying to lock me, put me in jail or something. Her and Zach and them were locking all the damn doors and stuff. I mean, all the locks on every door.
Preventive
So,
measures.
yeah, we come in through the garage. Well, who's gonna come in through the garage? And then you lock the door behind it. So that if I come in at night and stuff, I can't get in the house if I go through the garage, that kind of thing. So they live like that.
Zach Train.
Oh,
That's
shoot.
just so classic.
Oh man, they live like that. But when
Doors.
when it was evident that every time we had talked to Chris about the drugs, he lied, he denied, and every time I talked to Alexis, which was every time that we were almost 100% certain it was Chris,
Yeah.
I'd go to Alexis. I wouldn't go to her with he said, she said. I'd go to her with Chris left this in the sink. Chris left this over here. And so she's like, no, I talked to him. Hey, it's not him, Daddy. It's somebody else. And I said, okay, Alexis, you need to talk to him. Because, you know, this just happened. This is what just came to me. You know,
Uh-huh.
Chris was wherever they were at. And he's with these guys. And they're out here getting hot. And she's in denial. He wrecked his truck. And you know, and he's denying this and all of this stuff. And then I found out after I talked to the owner of the company why and how he got treated and why he was getting treated that way. Y'all leaving all the story out. So basically, Alexis, for a couple of years, knew he was doing drugs, and she was in defense of him, protecting him. She was lying. That's okay. Okay. Now I can't trust you because you're a liar.
Right.
But then you turn around and then you steal a camera I bought last year. And then you turn around and say he didn't do it. He would admit to me. A druggie don't know what the hell the truth is. But I don't know how to tell you this. They don't know what's the difference between the truth and a lie. Now, the camera was just put there a couple of days before in the office. Chris comes over. He's cutting his hair back there. I'm in the kitchen starting dinner. And so then some people are coming home and stuff, but Chris has been back there in our bedroom and all, but it was in the office, just right there where it's easily accessible. And so the camera grabs legs within a couple of days of Zach doing bringing him back. I said, okay. It just walked away. Zach didn't use the camera, they just brought it back. Now I got a damn empty case here with no camera. And at that time, we didn't even think, Chris. It wasn't until something else happened that I asked.
It was Ashley's
Ashley's guitar.
Then we
And then I said, Alexis, ask him if he stole our camera, took our camera and pawned it in. Because the camera just came up. You know, coincidental?
Right.
So, no. He said he didn't take
Pretty
it.
obvious.
He said he didn't take it. Okay. Now, I'm gonna have to watch his ass. And they came by the house one time after that.
Yeah.
And I said, this is too much work.
Right.
You know, I got, you know, when you got a lot of people, all kids and friends and all of that over at the house, but I gotta make sure no matter what, no conversation, no cooking, no nothing, can allow me to take my eyes off him, because he's gonna walk through this house and shit's gonna turn up missing. You got jewelry and shit laying on the dresser, checkbook laying on the dresser, wallet laying on the dresser. I mean, things gonna come up missing. So I said, nah, that's too much work. So I told her, no, he can't come over till he's been clean for at least a year, because every drug person that I know escalate. They become better liars, but more than anything, they raise the ante, the stakes.
Yeah.
Every time, you know, they get caught, confronted, or whatever, then they get a little bit deeper, a little bit higher, and then it never ends. It only ends when they say it's over. It's kind of like me chewing tobacco. I wish you would stop chewing tobacco, Dad. Dad, why don't you quit tobacco? Because this is my vice. This is my alcohol. This is my golfing. This is my hobby. This is my movies. This is my everything. I put it all into $2 or that, then went up to $3.50 a tin. I put it all into $3.50 a tin twice a week. I said, and so I enjoy it. This is my everything. And now, since I don't drink, I don't go to the bars, I don't party, I don't have a hobby, I don't golf, I don't any of this. I just need $30. If that would be a very big month if I spent $30. But about $20 a month. And the kids wanted me to do it. But then when I decided, which was 2.5 years ago, when I said, okay, I was on those damn crutches and I said, half a mile just seemed like 15, maybe 15, 20 miles to go to Circle K to get a 10. I said, now I know I'm dependent on it. Because all day, that's all I can think about. I don't have no tobacco.
away to
I
get
I can't function because I can't think about how can I get to the damn tobacco. And I said, nah, yeah, that's got me.
Yeah.
So I went in and I said, okay, that's the end of that. I'm done.
Well, that year of Alexis' surprise, no, she had that birthday party at her house, the costume party. And the following week, she came over and she said that someone at the party had stolen all her jewelry.
Jewelry, that was Chris.
Yeah, when she left that day, I said to Ricky, nobody stole that jewelry, Chris stole it. And made
Yeah,
it
her birthday party was
her own.
hers. She
had a
said
birthday
that
party.
there were a whole bunch of people, there were all kinds of her friends and stuff that were there at her Halloween birthday party. And then after the party, a day or so later, she said that a bunch of her jewelry was missing and all that. And she figured it was some of the people that were at her party. And see, this is another thing. If you have friends that are questionable, please don't bring by the house when we get together and
You
shit.
really don't need
You know
that.
what? This is not. No, they steal from your ass and stuff. You know, don't bring them up my house.
Right.
And so, then you come to find out it wasn't her friends, it was Chris. That stole her jewelry and stuff.
He's pawned her wedding ring before,
Yeah,
and they had to get it
wedding
back.
So that's where the stakes for the antes are getting higher,
Yeah.
you know, and
Getting bigger.
And Chris's situation and Alexis reminds me a lot of my situation. How many drug addicts own a home, live in a nice home, live in a roof over their head, food on their table, you know, they live a life that everybody would want to live. Not many of them,
Right,
you know.
they're all leeching,
Right, and
struggling.
it's just,
I mean,
makes me
that,
sick. It
in
makes
and
me
of
sick.
itself, right?
Yeah, and I've questioned Chris numerous times about it.
Yeah.
Just between him and I would have conversations with him
Really?
and ask him, tell him, I know that's what you were doing, I know you were here and you were using drugs while you were here at the house. You took off to Circle K and you were gone an hour and a half. And I said, I know that, no, I would never do that to you and Ricky, I would never do that to Alexis. And
But he's been caught on so many things, why would he just?
adamantly insisted, and he was like, I've talked to Alexis, she affirms me that we're wrong, and he supported him more than.
How is that
the two
for
of
not
us.
ever supporting
Yeah.
these
I mean, he defended the two of them through, I mean, that went on for years.
Yeah.
Several years we were suspicious of it, and
And they're
every
telling
time.
me, even other people coming in the house saying that dude like they're doing something in the bathroom. He leaves it in the toilet or whatever.
The ashes from him
Oh.
smoking
And leave it in the
crack was-
toilet and stuff. And
That last Christmas that he was at the house, his ashes in the kids' bathroom. I go in there and first of all, my nose to that smell is like radar. I can smell that. So I go in there and I'm like, something's. So I go in where the toilet's at and the black ashes are on the rim of the toilet. And then he dropped, it must have dropped on the carpet, the throw rug there. And I'm like, this is it. He's smoking it while he's in the toilet.
Yeah.
Because we were on to him, because when he used to come over, he would go outside
he'd be
for
gone.
hours.
He got to go
Yeah.
to Circle K.
Yeah.
Which Circle K did you go to? The one in Preston? The one that's by us is only half a mile, man. Man, I like to leave it gone for over an hour. What did he go to get?
Yeah.
Oh, he just went to get a soda. Which Circle K did you go to? Shit. I walk over there and back in 20 minutes. Like, oh man.
So
He still does that disappearing act for an hour. Well, I haven't seen him in months now, but when
that's what
we
he's
were hanging
doing,
out,
guys. I'm
yeah.
telling you, that's what he's doing.
Yeah.
He go when he's taking off, and she can sit there and believe he's going to get a soda. But when he's
Yeah.
taking off, he's going off to get high. And come back.
Yeah.
Every time,
Every time.
every time.
So anyway, just
And everyone's like blind to it. Like not everyone in this room, but I mean, in that circle, what I consistently see is like, you know, we don't look at it. It's not actually happening. It's kind of like he'll be okay kind of thing. It's no one shows any concern. Like there's an issue. Like seriously, but
Well, Austin defended him tooth and nail, and when I found out that he had taken Ashley's guitar and pawned it, and then I told Austin, this is your sister.
yeah.
Why the hell are you still supporting this and covering up
Right.
the line for him?
Right.
And now he's stealing from you. Alexis married him, and whatever happens to her, happens to her. But I said, why are you defending him? Oh, I'm so disappointed in him. I'm so disappointed in him. And that's all he kept saying. And I said, you know, I hate it. It's just like, oh gosh, I can't remember. But another scenario, but it's the same with my kids. I can't stand for my kids to work hard for something and then somebody just snatch it and rip it away from them. Like, forget about how many hours you worked, how much hard it was to get the money to pay for this. I'm just gonna snatch it and sell the shit and get it for
It's
10% of whatever, get one high out of it. And you work for a week or two to get it. And I said, man, it irks me, it pisses me off. But they do that. I mean, he did it to his own mom.
Yeah.
You know, so once you're on drugs, it
Yeah.
just doesn't matter. That's what happened with Alexis. When I told Dee, I said, she started off smoking cigarettes. And I said, you go to cigarettes, to pot, to harder drug. And oh, Ricky, that's not true. I said, well, if that's not true, yeah, I said, if that's not true, then no more cigarettes. I grabbed a pack of cigarettes, crushed them. And then the next thing I know, you're kicking her out of your damn house because she's smoking pot.
Weed. Yeah.
Anyway. And it got a lot worse than that.
You warned
with
Austin.
Alexis.
When
Yeah.
Austin was here the other weekend when you guys were here, you said to him, you better get a lock for your door
Mhm.
for all that stuff. And he says, no, I don't gotta worry about that.
Yeah.
But you watch. And
Oh.
Austin's tools are the easiest thing to hawk
Yeah.
and the easiest thing to get money for.
and
Something's gonna happen.
something's gonna happen there, and then that
That's time
relationship's gonna be ruined.
Yeah.
It'll be ruined,
Between
but
Alexis and Austin.
it'll be ruined, but it's going to be a good thing for
Yeah.
2 reasons.
Yeah.
One, Austin he's making himself naive to what the whole situation is about.
Right.
But two, nothing that is said to Austin by anybody sticks. But what will stick is him paying for tools that he hasn't paid for yet.
Yeah.
And those to disappear.
He's gonna feel that.
Like, yeah, he's gonna feel it
He's gonna
because
feel that.
Home Depot's not going away,
No.
and neither are those Chase and the other places that you got credit cards. They're not gonna go away. And he said, right here, he was sitting over there in the kitchen, he said he still owes $1,500 for a chainsaw and a belt or something. He already paid $1,500 or $1,600 for a leaf grinder, but he still owes like $1,500. If that disappears, and in order for him to make any money to pay off the debt that he already has,
Yeah.
that's when it's going to start sticking in. And I hate to think about it, but the reality is, Lord, maybe that's what it takes.
Right? Sometimes it just takes that dip down
Yeah.
to come back up, but and it will test his integrity. And the one thing I don't know him as well as you, but from what I see, he has grit. Like I think he could pull it. You know, when people have grit, they get tested hard, and then they come through. I think he's one of those people. I think Austin.
Oh, okay.
I think he can pull himself out of the mud and get through it. But I've been wrong before. But I believe in him. I think he has that ability. I think he's got it.
He has so many talents,
Yeah.
and he's been gifted in so many different ways, and his desires are so minuscule. I mean,
Right.
very minimal. I
Right.
mean, the boy will live. He can live for 2 years in the dirt until he can build a mud house. I mean, his ideas, the things that float in his head that says that, I think this is what I want to do. You don't understand. If you can do it, you go for it.
Yeah.
Tiny house. This is the tiny house. This is it. Could you put this on your truck and take it? Because this is the tiniest I'm gonna get right here. But Austin on the other side, golly, he has, like you said, the grit and everything.
Yeah.
But
Got all the pieces.
he's missing something very important. Even Jenny, I met Jenny first night.
Yeah.
Made sure that she knew. What did you say in Austin? Why? Yeah, I don't know, but let me explain this to you. This is what, and Austin had just gotten baptized like a year before and stuff, and in November, I think, 2009. So he had just got baptized and everything. So now Jenny gets mixed into this thing, and I'm like, I hope you wouldn't take him away from walking with the Lord, but my experience is that it always goes that way. It never that other person gets saved. And so we went through all of that. Now it's all said and done. Okay, she knows where I stand. Treat her like a sister, or like, see, she might. Treat her like treat her like one of my. Oh my goodness, in-laws, kids. But anyway, she goes, and then Austin started mistreating her right away. I couldn't stand it. The way he just took over her house, took over this, took over that. And a lot of the discussions we had, they're very negative. Why are you doing this to her? Why are you treating her this way? She's scared of snakes, and you put a fucking snake in her house. You
Why
took
would you do
over her
that?
garage, you take over her yard. And I thought she owned the house. But she was just going along with it because she cared so much for Austin.
Wow.
Then when I found out that she was renting it, I said, uh-oh. Because I've seen pictures of a garage that I ain't gonna touch. It'll take me about 3 weeks to clean that damn thing up. There's no way. And then the yard, he's got 4 or 5 different projects going on at the same time. And while he's doing all of that, I would show Carrie. I would say, look, see Ginger's products? She's saying, I wish you would stop. I wish you would clean it up. I wish you, and all of her responses, but Austin is like oblivious.
Yeah.
It didn't mean anything to her.
Register.
And I'm saying, why are you doing this to her? You're just using her.
Yeah.
You're doing this stuff to her. No matter what. He it's almost like he descended from something else. You know, they say fruit don't fall far from the tree. Man, if Austin is my fruit, boy, he fell a long ass way. We're talking Mount Everest, and he's someplace in Saudi Arabia. I mean, it fell a long way.
The decisions, I can't follow them. I don't understand. I would never make those same decisions, and they're so irrational. They're kind of like to take over someone's house.
Just take it. Just take it.
Who the heck do you think you are? I mean, just fundamentally, like when you just have that entitled kind of thing. I can just do whatever I want. I can just take your stuff and set it on fire if I want to. How about that? But you know, and this goes back. I have to call it out because you have some of those tendencies too, in a very small way. And I swear it comes from your mom.
I took
And I'm
over your
gonna say
house?
it
You
because
think I took over your house?
No. I think that sometimes you kind of assume that what you're doing is okay, and you haven't checked with anybody. You don't recognize that you need to ask. Okay, you completely redecorated my entire room. My room
Oh, well.
was completely like redone. Yeah, it's in the past, but I'm just calling it out because it seems to be an entitlement. But
Right.
Alexis doesn't seem, I don't know if this is true or not, but I haven't seen that side of Alexis. Alexis seems to be the one calling it out, saying, don't do this, don't do that. So,
But she was an orderer. She's the chief that used to order them around and stuff. But
yeah.
you know, Ashley was always so dang quiet that nobody in my family, they would just say, my mom thought that Dee was making them, raising them to be against her. Okay, like,
Yeah,
opposed.
right. Yeah.
Then Ashley wouldn't have anything to do with anything that was tan or black. Alexis had a little American girl named
Addie.
Addie. Ashley had Samantha. And so everybody saw it and they said, well, maybe she hates. It's just the fact that she got black blood running through her veins. I said, well, unfortunately, for long as you're alive, it's
They're gonna change.
can't change that. But when you look at how quiet she was, always sitting, and I knew she was absorbing stuff. It's like if we were having this discussion now, we would have this discussion, but if we were having a discussion and Noah was sitting here, he's like, Ashley,
They just
he's
taking
the
it in.
shyest person in the world.
Yeah.
Nothing passes by him.
Yeah.
He hears and everything. And then he asks you
Yeah.
about things that is way over his head, big words in context, which tells me he understands everything. He's hearing.
Yeah.
That's how I asked him, so you never know. You know, she sat there for probably at least 6
Yeah.
doing this. And then she stopped doing that. But she grew up always just being in the shadow. Alexis was so boisterous that my mom used to, and Alexis should hate my mom. Why you act like you grown, girl? Get your ass in there. Hey, get over there. Alexis was always having to be by herself.
Really?
Ashley and Austin would just sit there and watch the movies, even though they didn't want to see them. They would just sit and watch the movies. But Alexis was always being disciplined
Yeah.
because she always felt like she knew more than she was given credit for, and that kind of thing. And so it's just innate. It's a personality trait, I think, that Alexis grew up
Yeah.
being the oldest, being the one that you praise, just like we're doing with Noah right now.
Right.
You praise him for being so, well, Noah's shy though. Like, if you guys weren't here and just me and Carrie, and shut that dude up, man. I told him I'm gonna kill myself. I'm gonna kill myself to that boy. Doesn't even take a breath for like 4 hours.
He
You
lets
don't
it
even
all
take
out.
a breath.
The
Once he's
entire
comfortable.
baseball game. The
Oh, my
entire
goodness.
game. Your dad sits here. He's gonna be sorry because he's the one that got him onto it.
Yeah. Right.
Noah commentates the entire game, play by play.
Yeah.
The
Did you see
entire
that?
game. Yeah.
He got 2 hits.
He doesn't give you the stats. That. You know how many homers he does this and this
And he's
and
sitting where you're sitting, and I'm sitting in that chair, and I'm like, Lord, Noah, just be quiet, man. They got 2 commentators already, man.
We don't need a third.
And he's just, but if you guys are here, he won't say a word.
No.
He would sit there for 3-4 hours, and he will never blink. He'll never say a word.
Yeah.
So he's very bashful, very shy. But just like when Ashley was growing up, very conserved, introverted. And one thing I was going to say before we move on to what you got is when Ashley grew up, I knew that the challenges of duplicating or being as good as Alexis or looking at Alexis and trying to be as good or whatever was always in Ashley. Because when they grew up, Alexis was a reader. Read a lot. And so Alexis would read a couple hundred books or something. Ashley read 400 and something books.
Yeah.
You know, so it was always there, although she didn't want any attention. She hated attention. But she was always, Alexis got into music and stuff, and then Ashley went and said, I'll try it, and she tried to play a flute, and they said, man, after a week, she's pretty good. Well, they just taught her the notes. And probably 2 or 3 weeks after I bought her a clarinet, she was playing Stairway to Heaven, I think it was. Is that the
The
song?
flute, but yeah, Stairway to Heaven.
Yeah, Stairway to Heaven.
Oh, Nights in White Satin, yeah.
With Nights in White Satin.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And she was playing. I said,
That's
who
not
is
an
that?
easy one.
I
Yeah.
went back in there
Pretty good.
and I said, this is like 3 weeks after she got a
Jeez.
flute now. I said, Ashley, is that you? And Lexi said, well, she's reading the music.
Yeah.
And then Ashley was the one who wrote the music.
Oh, class.
I said, they just taught her the notes.
Yeah.
And so as she's learning the sounds, she's writing them down and then she's playing. And I said, oh, this girl's gifted. But to top it all off, that was an example that when Alexis was in junior high, and she had this really close friend, and Raquel, and so when they have auditions so that you get your seat. Alexis beat her one time, and then her friend wanted to cut off the relationship, Raquel. So Alexis had to always sit second chair, even though she could play better than Raquel. And I said, this don't make sense.
What kind of friendship is that?
You know, everybody trying to get the highest chair that they can get.
Yeah.
And so they did it. So when I saw that Alexis would place that relationship above being the best she could
Herself,
be,
yeah.
I said, she's gonna be limited. But then on the flip side with Ashley sitting there don't want no attention, but I don't like sitting in no second chair. You sit behind me.
Yeah, right? Oh, yeah.
If you better than me, I'll sit there, but right now, second chair, I'm in first chair. And so then they said, that Ashley, she's better than anybody at Mountain Point High School. Now, Alexis used to always say that that I never put her and got her private lessons and got her this and got her all of this stuff. But Ashley never had any private lessons. And then, in fact, all these rich kids over here with all the private lessons and stuff. Ashley's 4 years younger than them and she's better than all of them. And I said, so those types of things, when Alexis would try to defend her position, point, softball, whatever, when she was trying to defend herself, and I would pull up Ashley and say, here's an example. Ashley ain't getting no lessons. In fact, they dying to have Ashley go over there and play the flute.
Right.
And then she just put the flute away. I don't want to play the flute anymore. You don't play the flute anymore. Girl, you gifted. And then she went over and got a keyboard. Never had anybody teach her anything. She just
Start playing.
Start playing. I said, she got those traits from Dee's mom.
Yeah.
Because she's airy, but she got a whole lot of gifts.
Yeah.
And so Ashley had these artistic gifts, and she had all of the gifts for music. And those are things that I look back now, and they were probably in opposition because Alexis was one who said I had to work so hard. Ashley comes out of high school, and she had $8,700, $8,000 or something dollars to go to ASU. She blew it off, but she earned it on her own. It was hers. The best I could do for her was actually get $10 for every A she gets. And I remember she came home with her first B. She had teardrops and everything. She was all broken up that she had gotten a B, but she did well enough that she could have, had she been strong enough, She could have gone through ASU and then scholarship, full ride, everything paid for.
Yeah.
But that is another thing you gotta remember. Alexis has gotta look at. Alexis was proactive, talkative, just as bright as Ashley, but undisciplined.
Yeah.
She was, I need approval.
Yeah.
Ashley didn't care. In fact, look at me. Everybody says she's
Yeah.
beautiful.
I'll
Oh,
just
the
take care
girl
of it,
is
yeah.
so beautiful. All my friends and stuff, Steve and them were still saying, that Ashley, so beautiful. They had to see what you look like because they had the audacity to say, you know what, with Elliot. Elliot needs a good woman. You don't need Ashley.
That's right.
No, I told him that about 300, 400, 500 times. No.
He asked us, he goes, do you think Ashley would consider going to Elliot? We left group that night and I said, is he crazy?
I said, you
There's
way.
no way I would ever let any of our children
I said, man, you way.
go out with
Way off. I mean, I love the fact that he's a dynamite. He's what, 33, 34, 35 years old. He's still a virgin and everything. He's never been with a woman. He's been faithful to the Lord and everything. But I said, I just need a man. No way, hell. No. And they keep saying it. And I said, you know, he's got one wonderful trait. But I ain't said Madonna with nobody. So anyway, they go and when Alexa sees it, it's the same. I'm sure all of those compliments. Ashley doesn't remember them, but every time she was complimented, all that was a downplay on Alexis's spirits. And it's like, you know, you got out of school early. You could have been competing, fighting for the things that Ashley got.
Yep.
You know, so when people are around and stuff, yeah, man, my daughter, no, she got school paid for her. She did well in high school. And you're hearing things like that. What am I supposed to say? Oh, I'm not going to mention that to anybody. I was proud of it.